Chaos Reign. Chaos Reign presents Let's Do the Research with guest Mr. Research. Broadcast March the 15th, 2020. Enjoy.
The views expressed on Talk Real Solutions, hosted by Tyrone Thompson at TalkRealSolutions.com, are the views of Tyrone Thompson and do not reflect the views of TalkRealSolutions.com, YouTube, or etc. The content here belongs to Talk Real Solutions and its many contributors. Views and opinions expressed by all contributors belong to them and not TalkRealSolutions.com or Tyrone Thompson, the host, or etc. All data and information provided on the site is for informational purposes only. Talk Real Solutions makes no representations as to accuracy, completeness, correctness, suitability, or validity of any information on this site and will not be liable for any errors, omissions, or delays in this information or any losses, injuries, or damages arising from its display or use. All information is provided on an as-is basis.
In a world where there's crime, corruption, rape, murder, death, and all forms of atrocities that plague the world in which we live in today, what you're witnessing, we are living in a state of chaos, and it'll take a greater or much extremer chaos to restore the order in which the world we live in today. Good evening, everybody. This is Chaos here. Tonight, I have a guest, and we're going to go into various, not only issues, but topics. But before I go in, I would like for everybody to go to the website, TalkRealSolutions.com. In the website, you'll see the latest news, articles that's, I guess, either relevant and informative that's going on outside America or in America. Also, the website also has, the list of black established banks and, let's say it has a bunch of things. And most of the information is there for those who want to view for themselves. And also there's a donation piece on the website as well. So wherever you want to contribute to TRS, the website will be appreciated. I normally would say that there are enough black-owned banks, but, moving forward, I would let people just go through the website themselves to find it for themselves. But all the information is there on TalkRealSolutions.com, so check it out. You won't be disappointed. Also, you can find this particular stream on YouTube titled Talk Real Solutions. As you know, the YouTube of Talk Roasters has been revamped and reorganized now. But I would say this, we just starting fresh, for lack of better terms. So as y'all know, if y'all are a big follower or listener to this show here on YouTube, you'll notice there's been a little change in regards to the growth of this channel. But as you know, we started pretty new and refresh again. And I think we're going to be on a good track now. Like always, we keep it raw and funky up here in regards to information and how we present it, whether good or bad, helpful or not helpful. At the end of the day, I leave that to the viewers on how you take to the information that is being presented here. And I think tonight we're going to probably go through some things. I have a man that is well-versed not only in research, but also contributes and helps the community in regards to our boys. So, you know, you just find my shows and everybody's shows on Talk World Solutions on YouTube. And like I said, we broadcast on the average 7 days a week. As you know, my shows are on roughly over the weekends, and it sometimes vary change depending on the situation. We also got ABC that does shows on a Saturday. We got Sarge now back doing shows on here. And we have Allfax doing the economic business. And to let everybody know, if y'all wasn't paying attention, the following week we had a winner, and Miss Monica Lamb took the money she won from supporting black business and distribute as scholarships to all the young teenagers that's finishing high school for a little small scholarship for college. So that's a good thing she did. So I give Monica Lamb a round of applause for that. And hope that the next endeavors that Allfax wants to people to contribute for the next draw will be something special. So like I said, you can find his show, I believe, on Wednesdays. So. But other than that, I think I gave enough information. Oh, and like always, you can subscribe to my channel, Chaos Reign. You know, I have a bunch of streams and, you know, content on my channel, so check me out too. So, but, you know, enough said. If Mr. Research, if you're there, can you please press *6 so I can see you on the queue? Press *61. Sorry. Okay. All right. I present to you tonight's broadcast. Chaos Reign presents. Let's do the research with my special guest, Mr. Research himself. So, as I open up your line, hello,
hey,
sir. Are you there?
What's going on? Yes, sir.
I'm good. Welcome, Mr. Research, to first guest on Talk World Solutions. And like always, you know, I welcome you onto as my guest for tonight.
Thank you.
Yes. Like always on my show, before we delve into the matter of, you know, the information, I always tell my guests I like to take a step forward in time before we step forward into the present. So for the first time on Talk World Solutions, tell everybody for the first time listening a little bit about yourself, sir.
Well, I've been around for a while on Blog Talk and on YouTube since 2007. Used to go on a lot of these shows before they even existed. I just been around quite a while. Work in medical finance, do a couple of things in business, got my own 2 online businesses. Doing some real good things, taking over my family's legacy as the only son, an international guy. Went overseas on my own dime at 19, came back to America at 24, lived in several different countries, Romania, France, England, the grill. Have kind of like a samurai type of attitude about things. And coming back to America, I realized most of our problem is that we have lost our honor code, and everybody just wants to do infighting. And infighting is why people are slowly taking over the black community, black property, things of that nature. So that's who I am. That's what I'm about. And helping the Black sons fixes a lot of this stuff. And another Black solution, if more people will become managers before they try to become owners, there will be a lot of people pulling people up into great positions.
Okay. Excellent. One little important question, and I'm not sure we talked about this when we had a conversation while I think it was offline. This is like last year, actually. My understanding of YouTube in its entirety in the history, and like I said, you've been on this since 13 years now, if my math is right.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, from the growth to now, what is your take on the history of YouTube and our role as a people from past to now?
The past was very quiet, polite. Women started attacking dudes verbally. Dudes didn't have no response because everybody was still on Black Planet and all these other places. But as dudes started to come in, they started hearing all the disrespect. And ultimately, when people like Tommy came around, they started, well, actually, Sarge was there before. Sarge was there, and Willie P was there before Tommy came around. And guys just started really getting upset behind a lot of the stupid stuff that was going on. They start talking back. So now what I've noticed is that you have a bunch of gender bashing, but nobody's really moving forward. And especially for the Black males, we're not a political force, and the women are. And so we're really setting our children backwards because we're falling in love with just doing enough. Let me make my point like this. No reason nobody should be working at a job for over 5 years and not be the supervisor. That's ridiculous. But people who just got to this country are trying to be your supervisor in 2 years flat. And you wonder why this Indian guy is telling you what to do, and he ain't even been in the country long. A lot of that has to do with Black folks trying not to advance, but they fall in love with just enough.
I see. And, that's very interesting you mentioned that, because I know most people that I come across, or even my skin or kinfolk, that we never think of even working these little small, jobs, or the ones that, the upper jobs, like the ones that people get the degrees and they want just to work, just to get by. We never think of just being upper management in any level of job you work in. That's not in our psychology. Now that you mention it, because we think that, of, I guess, the doubts of, if we're not going, no one's going to get you. You're not going to be no manager and all that. Like we put, self-doubts of the potential what we could, if we want to take a step further than just, being a regular wage worker. Is that something more psychologically embedded in us to not think like that at any job we work at as men? I can't speak for women, but just men in general.
Well, let's include the women for a second. You see more 20-year-olds working man jobs now. Security guard, plumbers, FedEx, UPS workers, warehouse, construction. They're not in the office place anymore. The women in the office place have been replaced by Pakistanis and all other nationalities. You may see 1 or 2, maybe 5. But most of them, even if they have better degrees than the lady who is the director over them, a lot of times that lady who's the director over them is a graduate of DeVry. And you wonder, okay, here's these Black women who are highly educated, but they're not pushing for it to be the director. So, you got a lot of that stuff. Now, let's not confuse, because I love when people come and say, I don't know what he's talking about. Where I'm at, that's not the case. We got to remember some places are predominantly Black. Let me give you an example, Chaos.
Okay.
Atlanta is predominantly Black. Every place around Atlanta is not.
Okay.
So majority of the state of Georgia is not Black. Every time Georgia tries to win a election outside of Atlanta, it's hard for them to do it. Because people sometimes get confused. Just because you got a bunch of people from Atlanta in your area don't mean that Marietta and Gwinnett don't control everything else in the state. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of people get confused is black folks get together in a certain area, they feel like a power force, and that ain't necessarily true. And the same thing is true for the dudes that you mentioned. A lot of times the dudes is doing just enough, and they work at a particular place for like 10 years. But what they don't realize, you're pigeonholing yourself into that. Even if you're a trade worker, sometimes you pigeonhole yourself into something, and then somebody will come out with something that'll block you out, and you'll be like, how did that happen? Let me give you an example. A friend of mine worked 12 years in a school system, but he did not work directly for the school. He worked for a third-party agency. Mm-hmm. Well, one day, 12 years later, they lost their contract. Guess what? You're out of a job, and you don't have a skill set that takes you into something else. So where's he at right now? At Home Depot.
Wow. Oh, wow.
And nobody pays attention to this stuff. It's just like, people feel like just because they get in the bag right now, they win it. Or people want to hear the message and then disagree just for the sake of disagreeing. But people like yourself, you want information. So even if I'm wrong, show the people a different way. Because if you wake up one day and you are not sitting across from another black person as your manager, well, does that mean that you're more likely to get in over this other ethnicity that's race loyal?
Interesting. Yeah, I think I follow. It's funny, the race loyal part, I hear from a lot of dudes, and I think I don't know if you talked about this or I had this conversation with other fellows, but when it comes to some of our women that's in these fields, that you think that, the issues with the men because he can't get employment work, some of the sisters that work the job that knows they could hire some men that are, let's say, either qualified or unqualified, they choose not to. And I always think, maybe because they're trying to follow the status quo to not hire some of us men in some of these fields. I'm not sure if that's right or wrong, what I said.
Yeah. Well, I've lived in several different states. I've had maybe 5 black women try to help me into employment. Let's be fair. Maybe there's 7 that try, and I don't even know about the others. Mm-hmm. But I've had so many try to block me. Let me give you just one example. So I moved back to California. I have 5 certifications in my career field.
Okay, good.
And I know they have hired people who don't have certifications, right? Mm-hmm. So here I am. I just moved back, 8 minutes from my house. I don't have to worry about gas, driving, none of that. The pay is a contract position, mind you. It's not a full-time, it's a contract position.
Yeah, time-based.
It's going to be for 10 months. They want me to do some medical record stuff. Okay, no problem. The pay is very nice.
Okay.
Very nice for this contract position that's only going to be 10 months. I'm like, great. I can sit here, plot what I need to do. The Latin one lady's like, oh, I love you. You'll be able to help us. No problem. You've worked on this system before. No problem. Blah, blah, blah. Just want you to meet this other lady, and then we should get you working on Monday.
Okay.
Meet the black woman. Black woman says to me, oh, I think you could do so much better than this position. You'll be bored at this position. Now, with a smile on my face, I was being disrespected, I felt, but with a smile on my face, I didn't want to make her feel any type of way. I said, oh, no, please don't assume that. This is close to where I live, so I'm saving money there, and I'm not worried about that stuff now. I just came back. This would be great for me to get my footing in, and, I'll be committed to you for the whole time. No problem. No, I think you could do so much better. Now, my question to you, Chaos, if you're looking for somebody to do the position, you're trying to get somebody qualified, why are you trying to give me job work advice by saying, I think you can go do better?
Well, the thing that comes to my mind hearing that is saying that you're too good for the position. Maybe you should work elsewhere. They're not telling you to go work elsewhere, but they're trying to hype you up, say, why do we want to do this type of desk job for this wage? You could find something much better.
What's the mentality of that? What's the mentality of that? My mom? Is that my sister? Did I ask for that advice?
No, you didn't ask for no advice.
Matter of fact, I reiterated, please don't think that this fits what I need. Now, why would a human being keep pushing that? And would you say that to a person of a different nationality or your fellow womanist? Well, you may have, but the issue is some of our women are in this mindset where they gotta say that type of stuff. If you don't want me for the position, fine. Don't want me for the position, and
don't hire you.
And then tell the Latin lady why you don't want that to happen. Okay, but here we are, 4 years later. That same Latin lady reached out to me again for a full-time position, not at that location, but someplace far out, like 45-minute drive.
Okay.
Spoke with her. Oh, yeah, I remember you. Yeah, I was so excited to bring you in. I said, yeah, I never got a call from you guys. And she kind of brushed it off. But the black girl don't work there no more.
Oh.
And when I went into this office, this is a prestigious Stanford University office, I saw 3 black women, but they were working a desk job, and I saw nothing but Latin, white, and Indian.
Wow.
So my example has happened a lot of times in my career. And I have no gripe against these people. It's just that, now let me be clear, I have no gripe against these people. It's just that it's real weird to see white folks try to get you hired and black folks trying to block you.
Yeah, I would question that too, Mr. Research. Because I thought we were supposed to be helping each other so it's like this. When I hear this, and I think, okay, you hear a lot of women complain about these brothers can't get jobs, but if you're in these same fields and he's there that he qualifies with, you're blocking him. So I'm thinking, what you want? You want a man to be productive or you want him to be just a bum? You can't both ways.
Well, not all women like this, but I've noticed most women want a person who will be controllable. And I notice when it's a white guy, they come at him with different type of energy. He can mess up a couple of times. He can, you know what I'm saying? That's why I always say anybody who can financially fight back, I think they get scared of. And anybody who they believe, because sometimes they treat Indian guys real bad. They feel Indian guys got that visa over their head, they can get let go. But I think my point is that I'm not a regular worker anymore. And so I don't deal with regular worker issues. I deal with higher level issues. And what I get unfortunately a lot is non-black people, males included, because sometimes males are very funny style, who are trying to pull you in. I would just much prefer they just be neutral to what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like in that case, turn to the Latin lady and say, hey, whatever you think, Gloria. You're the one that got a supervisor. But it just comes across, man, our people are so funny. Now, let me show you the flip side. So anybody hearing this recording, don't think I'm bashing.
Yeah. When
I talk about race loyal, you got a lot of people that you think are white that are actually Latin people. But you wouldn't know they're Latin unless you know their middle name was Gomez, Jose, Rodriguez. And you're like, wait a minute, that white guy with the red beard name is Rodriguez? Yep.
Wow.
That's why I said when you get to this higher level of earning, you started seeing that stuff. I try to tell people not to be service workers. When you just want to be a plumber or chop some wood for a person or police, security, you see a lot of low-end stuff. When you start getting into this management stuff, you start seeing some real moves being made for their people. And you'll see people who not qualified worth crap get higher level positions to figure it out.
Wow. Wow, man. But, you know, let's go a step further. You always hear a lot of these brothers, and I'm not going to be fair here, that they feel that when they deal with another culture woman, they think this woman is, you know, somewhat could be partially one of us. But no, I'm saying if you look at them and if you really study their names, because names are very important, Mr. Research, and it's good for you to mention the middle name because we don't look at the middle, we look at the first and last name. That these are actually Latin descent people that are European in liking, looks, and everything. And we don't really pay attention. We think it's like, oh, Billy Bob or something, or Becky. No, this woman is Latina. But you wouldn't know that because you didn't research that. The same Latins that are filling up this country with the borders, last time I checked, that's trying to outnumber black people in this country more since 2000. So we got to ask, who is who? It's beyond looking at the skin. We got to look at everything, the skin, the hair, and their name, if they have a Spanish name.
Well,
yeah, I'm just saying.
I point you to the comedy of Cat Williams and the YouTube video of Cat Williams talking to a Mexican immigrant. Mexican immigrant was allowed into the country. Cat Williams made a Latin joke that the Mexican immigrant didn't like. Cat Williams make black jokes. Cat Williams make white jokes. But this guy had pride in being Hispanic. No, nothing wrong with that. But Cat Williams asked him a real question. You over here, I just want to know, which one are you for? Are you for America or are you for Mexico? The guy didn't want to say the first two times. Finally, Cat pressured him again. He said, Mexico. Cat, so what the F are you doing here? See, here's the thing that I just want to share.
Okay.
You think, black folks be thinking a lot of folks be rocking with America. A lot of people playing that role. This is why I'm always amazed when I see young black folks who don't really know politics, don't really know the history of nothing. They just, the idea of, yeah, nobody should be taking nobody from nobody. They shouldn't be splitting up families. Okay. Why did we pass 3 Latin countries to get here? Let's talk about Syria. Why did we pass 4 Muslim countries and France to get to America? If you really, that's a little strategic. And see, this is why I say with guys when they go fight in the military, the only really real reason racism exists is because guys keep helping white folks in the military. Stop doing that. Stop. Okay. Because once people start to realize, wait a minute, a lot of these people we letting in, only a small 10-20% are actually helping us fight. Let me ask you a question, Chaos. I know we're jumping around a little bit.
No, that's fine. We got time. Go ahead.
Do you really think a Latin-born American, some of them will, but do you think majority of them are willing to kill Spaniards if we were at war with Spain?
That's an excellent question. And the only answer I can give to keep it, this is my opinion, and I hope people take me seriously. I would feel if they really, like Latin descent, Mexican, whatever you want to call themselves, and there's a war breaker and Spain's in war, I would say yes, they will fight for Spain. And let me tell you why. I remember back in history when, I guess when Mark was here or they kicked him out, there was a battle between the Italians and Ethiopia. I think this was during the late 30s or wherever. I forgot. Don't get me wrong if you quote me in the right time frame. And a couple of Americans here, blacks, were willing to go over to Ethiopia to fight for Ethiopia because I guess they want to fight for Africa entirely because of the black king and all that stuff, right? So why not someone that is Latin descent won't fight for the country that is origin to them, that speak the language?
Right.
Hope that makes sense.
So you have some black-skinned people go to fight, but they were not necessarily Ethiopians fighting Ethiopia. Mm-hmm. One testament of whether people are really down is back when Japan had their war and Americans asked Japan to be spies for them. They said, no, we don't want to be involved. So they put them in these camps.
Mm-hmm.
You're here, reaping all the benefits, say that you're American, but you don't even want to spy for America or help us decode none of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
The point I'm making with that is black folks are constantly, and it's mostly younger black folks, are constantly fooled into thinking everything's fair. And then they realize,
yeah.
And then they realize, wait a minute, it truly is about numbers. It ain't about fair. You are only protected, Chaos, because there's some like-minded people willing to go to bat for you. Whether your parents is from a different continent, it don't matter. You got some people willing to go to bat for you, and you're willing to go to bat for some people. But let's take that away for a minute. Let's just make you all about you and all about your mind and your ability to do X, Y, Z. Yes. That only exists as long as you got people willing to let you do it.
Okay.
The smartest person can make money on Wall Street, all that type of stuff. But when somebody decides, wait a minute, let's gang up on this guy, he ain't got no protection. He just got associates. We'll pay those associates off. He don't have no real family.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy's like, man, what happened to so-and-so? Golly. No protection. You out there on an island. Mm-hmm. So one thing I've noticed is that people talk a lot every 5 years, whether it's blog talk, whether it's internet, whether it's Twitter, whether it's check on those people 5 years from now. Check and see if they're still around. Check and see how they doing.
I know Tommy Sotomayor is no longer on YouTube like that, like he used to be. I don't know if I'm right or wrong. If you could clarify that, because I don't follow the dude, but I remember when.
Yeah, I don't follow much you.
Yeah, but now he's not like on here per se. You know, there's other new people on here.
Well, let me ask you this question: Did you go to your local movie theater to watch his movie? To be honest,
I wasn't really sure he really completed that project and got it like out there distribute in theaters. To be fair, I stopped following him.
It never went to theaters. I was being facetious. It never went to. It was just the most expensive $40,000 YouTube cell phone video ever made.
Oh, that's terrible. That is very terrible. That's terrible.
And the problem is, you had so many people defend it. You have so many people argue about it. And then when it went on year number 8 and he still hadn't produced it, people realized then, oh, we've been duped.
Mm-hmm.
Look how much fighting y'all did. Look how much arguing y'all did. And it's just the problem with online now. What are people producing? What are people producing? Because just because you get in the bag right now, that's like a mixtape artist. You hot right now. You hot for the next 3 years. But you remember that song? This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. Where's that artist right now?
He probably broke. I forgot who sang that song yet.
Actually, he's not broke. He just went into production. But my point is, he's not making that money he was making.
I see.
And that's the problem with the black community. We're always going off this, but this is what I'm doing right now. No, everything works on a 5-year model or a 10-year model. You don't want a job, you want a career. If you say you got a job, you're expendable. If you say you got a contract, you're expendable. Just because you in Arizona making $100,000 a year in HVAC doesn't mean you're going to be able to take that HVAC degree and go to Michigan and do the same thing. You're benefiting from being in Arizona. Has nothing to do really with HVAC. Has to do with you're in a niche market in a place that needs you. But you move to Texas, still hot, you might not be able to get in because maybe all of the HVAC places owned by Irish cats or something. You got to look at it. There's just a lot of stuff to look at, man, and people just really don't pay attention as black folks to the war that's going on around them. And I'm going to share the mic after I say this. Okay. It goes back to my original point about the ladies. Ladies want the protection of black dudes, but gentrification only happens, chaos, when the children are not indoctrinated with a business mind and the ability to take over the property.
Hey, I agree. I totally agree with that one. For those who are listening for the first time, tonight's stream is titled Chaos Reign Presents Let's Do the Research with my guest, Mr. Research. The call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160, access code 915-411#. I repeat, 712-770-4160, access code 915-411#. You know, even with gentrification that we're seeing now, and it's still a process amongst every community or hood in America, I remember I was watching a lecture, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with this particular scholar. He wrote a couple books before he transitioned back in the mid-'90s. I think his name is Amos Wilson. He talks about power and taking over the communities, especially New York, during that time when he was around alive back in the late 80s, and saying, all right, our children are in these schools. We know they're being miseducated and all that, but what education they're getting, because they got to come back to these communities that they live on. And if you're not even building or sustaining yourself by, controlling the property or building jobs to keep gainful employment, your community eventually dilapidates and dies within time, So, this is what he was saying during the time when he was still around. And I find what you said now is that, these young people that are, they're born, they get to a certain age, whether they went to school or not, they don't really have enough much to offer to really come back to a community, to sustain it or, go further, So that's why when they push these agendas like regentrification, it's simple because we fall into a trap. And we feel that we have no way of combating it. We know the answer how to combat, but we choose not to take action to combat this.
Well, there's no protection for black teachers. And therefore the image of blackness is not being taught to where you're respecting it. The child is looking at non-black people thinking they're the epitome of knowledge. Then you look at the child himself, a lot of times being bombarded with This is what gave birth to charter schools, is that you got children being bombarded with kids that are not even there to learn. They're just there to socialize and not go home. Hate going home. Home is a terrible place to be. Rather be at school. But you taking that energy that's at your household and you bringing it to the school for a socialized Facebook type of mentality.
Mhm.
Nobody wants their kids around those kids anymore. So people are paying for military school, private school, whatever they got to do. But think about this. For those kids who are not having parents do that for them, these kids are being forced to figure it out.
Yeah. I don't like that.
One guy who's one of my Wolf students, he is in his mid-20s. He got a brother that just turned 20, 21. His single parent created a scenario. They've been renting a house for so long, you don't even own a house. And now y'all got to get out.
Wow.
Because the house been sold. Let me go to my family circle. My sister, ever since I was 17, she's been renting the same house. So we're talking about at least 4 decades.
Oh my goodness!
And here she is. They never built anything and bought anything. Now that house been sold, and they had to move in with her husband's mom, her husband's 80-year-old mother, who's blind in one eye. I kept telling my sister, "Hey, look, here go a cell phone. I got a job for you. Hey, I got a job for your husband." Nobody ever wanted to follow up. Okay. Now the husband has a stroke and he dies. So now you're still living with your husband's mom, and you have no job, and you haven't had no job for 3 decades.
That's a long time.
Right. But it's because of that just enough mentality.
I didn't know that.
But then, like I told my sister, why do you think my nephew made the moves that he made? Getting in the military, getting with a woman he probably shouldn't have got with, just so he can get away from y'all. Y'all not productive. Even looking at y'all every day is terrible. So this is the problem. It's just that we have really drank the Kool-Aid of just enough. And it's not really the black people's fault. It's that we keep dragging along the 80% who are not even trying. We don't celebrate nerds. Even white nerds have some level of respect. Asian nerds got respect. We don't celebrate our nerds. Our classy people, once they make it, they get a Jaguar and call it a day. Said they not trying.
Hey, that Jaguar be nice though. It's that at least I look good driving while I'm somewhat doing all right.
well, it is that, but let's look at the Kobe Bryant thing. You got half $500 million, $400 million. What did you do with it? Magic Johnson built movie theaters. Kobe, what did you do with it? LeBron still building things.
But let's be fair with Kobe, because I don't really know much, because when Kobe retired from the NBA back, actually now 4 years now, for the first 2 years of retirement, they say he won something producing, I don't know if it was a documentary. I don't know if I could be wrong. So yeah, I think he was doing some moves, and I can't really say what he would potentially do, because he died very sudden after his NBA career. I mean, to be fair.
So he did a documentary about sports. That's it.
That's it? Oh, okay.
That's it. And he gave $1 million to African American Museum.
Yeah, you can't really build nothing with no fucking museum.
Yeah, so it's like you got $400 million, dude. You could have revamped the child support system. You could have if you want to do stuff for women, you could have made a string of night daycares. Or I mean, that's just something you could have did with all that money instead of just sit on it. And so I bring him up to say that a lot of our black people who do well are not focused on what they could do. They're so focused. Yeah, they're so focused on just maintaining it. And now you got 50 Cent is the epitome of making stuff to make black dudes look good. He creates movies to make black dudes look decent in these movies. He bankrolls the one thing on CBS about the brother who got himself out of jail and is a lawyer for other criminals. He got the power thing. Why is he number one with some vitamin water money when so many other people could do so much more? But we're not focused on that. Where is the Black Celebrity Credit Union, where 100 black celebrities got together and they created a credit union for their black people?
That's a good question. Matter of fact, let's go further. Where is our hospital? Now, some people say that the hospital is a little tricky because you need the state to fund it, back it, because it is.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
You don't?
No, you don't.
Can you go into that? I kind of need to educate this.
I'm 26 years in medical. The way a private group comes about is they bankroll. What that person is telling you is about is if you want to be the trauma center.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be the trauma center, then you got to have that backing. But that means that all of the cases really are going to go to you. But anybody can create what's called a medical group.
Interesting.
Anybody. 5 doctors can get together and create podiatry, which is foot doctor medical group. Anybody can do that. And from that, the more clients you get, you're able to start looking at a clinic. And from that, the more clients you get, you start able to look at getting a membership infrastructure where people pay you monthly, and then you can get a hospital.
Mm-hmm.
They got Native American hospitals.
Mm.
Where's the black hospital? Where's the Caribbean hospital?
Good question.
They got so many African doctors working in America. Where's the all-African hospital?
Long time ago, I heard we used to have one up here, but it didn't sustain itself like decades ago. I think this all started to crumble when integration came to play. I could be wrong, but NAFTA destroyed Bill Clinton's NAFTA destroyed everything. Okay, that's another information if you want to write down. You know what I'm saying? I hope y'all taking notes, people. This is some research.
Bill Clinton's NAFTA destroyed. You had union jobs. You could have got out of high school and went to a customer service credit card company and just sat and answered phone all day for $10, $12 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Just coming straight out of school.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention how Reagan killed the union jobs. You used to have union jobs everywhere. You go straight out of high school. You want to work with your hands? Great. You make $70,000 a year working at somebody's plant.
Mm-hmm.
But what NAFTA did is NAFTA said, no, we're going to let these companies go overseas, get cheaper labor, but still sell back to America.
Yeah.
And the deal was, we're going to let y'all do that tax-free for 8 years. The problem is, for the past 20, 25 years, they never did pay taxes. That's why they got mad at Obama when he was like, no, y'all got to pay taxes. You ain't never paid them.
But see, one thing with that, because I know we had like a bigger tax break, was it last year with Trump put that from 30 now 21.
But you got to make over, but your household got to make over $72K.
72K. You mean 72K? Is that 720?
No, 72,000.
72,000. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's say household makes that. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So you and your wife, can make what is that, 36 each, and that'll equal 72. But a lot of the loopholes that Obama had went away under the tax break, because the tax break was only for households that were 72 and up. And what happened is people got food the first 2 years because there was no change. Actually, he gave you some money the first 2 years, but now for the remaining 6 years of that 8-year tax break, got to pay higher. All those loopholes are gone.
So people that are married, or let's say you actually got a house, those loopholes are no longer there. Am I right?
No. If you are under 72K, those loopholes are no longer there.
Wow. So really what he has done, he's actually dwindled more of a so-called middle class to really almost, you're like, there's like a top and lower. And I'm going to say this. A lot of people don't understand, because I did a stream on this, Mr. Research, and I'm going to find it, and I might present to you. I wrote down my scenarios of how I look at the economics of people moving forward. And I don't think I said black people move forward. That I say I already conclude that, this thing about this middle was only for only brief time. And during the 40s, after World War II, that's the only time we experienced a so-called middle class. Now, if you can correct me, please do. But for the last almost 70, going on almost 80 years now, that was only for a temporary time. There really should be a top and lower. There was not supposed to be no middle. So a lot of people feel that the middle class dwindling. Well, the whole purpose of economics, or any society you're in, there's always a top and there's a bottom. That's always been consistent. Now, if you want to correct me, please do.
Well, the middle truly died under NAFTA, because you had the managers, you had the unions, and you had everybody else, service workers. Let's use waitresses as an example.
Okay.
Back before 86, a waitress can make $100, $200 a day, $300 a day. Kill it. Okay? They created a law just for waitresses that they would have to make money below minimum wage, because somebody got jealous of the taxes. So just that easy, they created a law just for waitresses and waiters. Okay. So as it relates to middle class, that's how the middle class disappeared. People who were able to work positions that you didn't think really made no money, valet, parking attendant. Now laws were created, NAFTA being one of them, that created a situation indirectly to where that money became nothing. When you start getting a lot of immigration, people start downplaying the pay rates on these positions.
Yep.
I remember when I worked as a security guard years ago, when I was just getting into working, we got $12 an hour. So why is that amazing to get $12 now? And in some places, people still getting $9. So that means things have devolved.
Yeah.
That means that things have gone backwards. Not in every position, but you got to look at the long-term scenario of the position before 2020. It's just like IT. Everybody talking about how great IT is. Well, guess what? You didn't have no temp jobs in IT back when IBM and HP was running things.
And that was during the 90s, am I right?
Right.
Okay.
All their jobs was at least a year. There was no such thing as a contract worker. So let's analyze something. If you get an IT job full-time back in the 90s, working at IBM, Hewlett Packard, you're making an easy 70, 80 for the year, right?
Okay. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But you can't be fired unless something really happened. That's because the managers allocated, well, we're going to need a person to do this. We're going to need a person to do that. When it came to temp work, Johnny would just come in on the weekend and do that and pick up that extra money. Paul would just work at night and pick up that. Nobody create a whole part-time lane for that. But now what's happened? Now we're coding everything. We're saying, okay, I'm still going to promise you the same 70, 80, but I can't guarantee you benefits, and I can't guarantee you're going to stay on.
Yeah, because you easily outsource when you're coding. And
right.
I remember from a particular other, I think it was another YouTuber, he said this, that, when he tried to jump into it, and he got wind from talking to some people that, because he was in training for that, said, you're going to probably make over $30K. You're not going to actually make the 70 or 80K that they promised.
Right.
Because of the outsourcing. So outsourcing in America is killing the average wage worker in America to make the money that they should be making.
That's my point. And your average IT person has like 3 or 4 jobs in 3 or 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't work one job for a whole 3 years. That's uncommon in tech. But because the get the bag generation say, man, look, I just got 160,000. I'm 24. Great. Tell me that at 36. Because there's a lot of IT dudes driving cabs and Uber.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, no. It depends on whether you keep up with the software and whether you... Okay, buddy. I hear you. So why are they asking for H-1s in visas? You think the person in India know more than you, Mr. America, and you live right over here by Silicon Valley?
Mm-hmm.
That don't even make sense. The person in India know more, and we got to use this H-1 visa to get him over here.
Exactly.
Than you over in Vermont. And instead of giving you the opportunity to move down here to Michigan for this job, we just going to automatically go get an H-1 visa. Okay.
And I think H-1 visas is more affordable. I think about it.
That's what it is. No, it's slave labor. That's all it is, because they know once those people come over, they got them on a string. The problem is they don't need them for longevity time. So it's just like Cuban baseball players. You bring a person over as a Cuban baseball player, you work them out. If they never make it, you dump them on the streets of New York.
Yeah.
You don't send them back. You let them figure out if they can find another situation and stay around. Mm-hmm. Or what the Cuban players used to do was hide in America until they did get a job. Well, it's the same one with the H-1 visa cats. Oh, no, you got to go back, man. You got to check in. There's an African lady in a flea market hair shop that was supposed to check in 7 years ago. She was hiding there doing braids, getting cash money. What are you talking about? You think everybody goes back to check in? No, sir. No.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Mm-hmm.
I've dated French women this one French lady, black girl, hiding for 3 years. Had another lady I dated from Southern Africa, hiding for 1 year. Look, it happens all the time. So if an H-1 visa person come here and they learn everything about Chaos Reign, but they don't know about Chaos Reign family. They know everything about Chaos Reign. That means I can come do the job. But now you want me to know the other part of computers, which is Chaos's family? Oh, I never studied that. Okay, now you're not. Now you're of no use. Okay, no problem. I wasn't coming here to America to work that job anyway. I just worked that job for 6 months so I can get my family over here. We had a baby on the soil. Now it's hard for me to go back.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
But that's a perfect goal, because now you have a child here. They have to. Well, I'm not sure how America operates when people that's foreign come here and they have a kid, that they get extended time. I'm not sure if it applies to them. I know if you get married to an American person, that automatically you don't have to worry about visa for a certain period of time. I could be wrong, but
with an American person, but if this person's here on contract, all they had to do was get the person over here to have a baby. They can get sent back. They don't care. My child is here. My child can be raised by my cousin. That was the goal. And a lot of times people don't see that. People don't see that the goal is not necessarily the job that got them over here. Put it this way. If somebody is going to pay you triple what you get paid right now to work in France, okay? You go over to France, you get paid triple, okay? You there for 8 months, okay? You find out there's a lot of other opportunities for you other than what you went over there for. Your job is over with. Your job don't work out. Is the first thing you think of coming back to America?
Well,
I mean, you can be honest. I mean,
go ahead.
You over in France is my point. There's other opportunities you never considered that you can probably bite into.
I know.
All you got to do is go get employed to stay in France, to keep your employment in visa. So the goal is never necessarily working that particular job. And what I've been trying to tell IT people is, haven't you noticed that there's a railroad of people coming in and out of tech, but nobody really stays? They always go to a different, a totally different lane. I know a dude came over for IT. He's now making weed cookies. Because the goal was never to come over and really do tech.
Wow. I just learned something new, man.
But black people need to see that part of the game. Black people don't understand. The goal was to get my cousin over here so she can get a typing job and get this human resources position and get all of my relatives in.
Yeah. Hold on, wait. Before you continue, somebody said something in the chat room. I'm not sure if you're on you. Oh, I can't tell because you're not on you.
No. Go ahead. No, I'm not.
And I'm going to open the line because two people raised their hands. So give me a second. Allfax says, stop playing. This is Q from way back. What's up, my nigga? I don't know who's Q he talking about, but.
No. He's talking about me. I used to be on Blog Talk, and I'm the same Q. I used to be on there. But see, that's my point. When we're having intellectual conversations, why? You see what I'm saying? Let's add to helping our people. But shout out to him too. Yeah, I remember when Allfax first came to Tyrone's platform. I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's long ago. I haven't been on that side of Blog Talk in so long, man. I'm doing other stuff. I've like went beyond that. But shout out to the brother. I'm glad he's doing well. My whole point though was just to stay on topic about our people. Our people don't really understand that these internal battles is not helping these children get a place in 2030. And the kids for 2030 are going to look back and say, what was the whole point of the invention of the internet when our ADOS black people did not position us, the children, to have nothing? And now we got to be domestic workers for these Indian folks.
Yeah, I know. It's getting bad, bro.
Yeah, but bring the people up. If the people want to come up, man, bring them up. They got something to chat
All right.
on.
Okay, guys, I'm now going to start opening the lines. I'm going to give the disclaimer. Well, not a disclaimer, but I'll say this. Tonight's subject, for those who are listening first time, is titled Chaos Reign Presents Let's Do the Research with Mr. Research. The call number for tonight's show is 712-770-4160, access code 915-411#. I repeat, 712-770-4160, access code 915-411#. So as I open the lines in order, I open your line. Hello, caller. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you? All right, what's going on?
I'm good. Hold on, let me unmute this brother, because it did something. You still there? Okay, good. All right, let me open one more line. All right. Caller, open your line. Who's this?
Sarge here.
All right. Sit back, Sarge. All right, Jay, what's good, brother? What do you got? Any questions for my guest tonight? Yeah.
Three things. So he said three things that I kept in mind. He said something about the Spaniards fighting, with their people or something like that. Then he went into Kobe and then the hospital. So I wanted to touch on the Spanish stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he said, I go back to that whole conversation, right? And you were speaking on, you said that they would fight for themselves, or they wouldn't fight against their people. And what was the scenario that you were speaking of?
No, I said when you truly want to know if an American person is really down for America, is if they will fight their previous country or their grandma's country for America. For example, if an Ethiopian person here in America is willing to be part of the American military, but go and fight other Ethiopians, a lot of people are not down for that. And because Black Americans, unfortunately, don't necessarily have a flag, going all the way back to the Buffalo Soldier, they're more inclined to fight for America blindly. Spanish people, majority of them, are not going to go and fight a bunch of Spanish people for America. You might have 10, 20% who might do it, but the majority of them won't. That was my point.
Okay. Yeah, I would say, in that, I get what you're saying, and yeah, you're right in the sense of you will see, if they are, for America or their mother country or whatever. You're right about that. But what I would say too is this, that you would have a percentage that will, and it all depends the circumstances, right? So if they Americanized, if they were born here, or if they were raised here but born in that country. So the upbringing, it has a lot to do with it. What type of surroundings they're with, when they're brought up here, if they're brought up with fellow Americans or people from, other countries like theirs, and where they identify more with the motherland country, or the parents also influence what is their upbringing and the way they're bringing up their children, right? So whether they be bringing them up in Americanized way, or they're not teaching them English or teaching them Spanish, and just the culture that they were brought up on, and not so much Americanizing them, even though they're in the country, right? So I think that will result in that situation. Moving on, I understand that, and I don't think there's an argument there with what you said. Going into the Kobe thing, I disagree. I say that Kobe didn't have enough time to be able to do what Magic did. I don't think that you could compare him to Magic or Jordan or anybody else. Unique circumstances for himself, as they all have their own way, and I think that they're all unique in their own way, but he falls in the category as the greats. Now, with his situation, he did invest money. It wasn't just one basketball film that he did. He had one that came out on the sports channel, ESPN. He had another another one that came out prior to the one that he did, which was animated, that talked about him when he went out to the Great Wall of China. It showed him when he went to Italy. I don't know if you've seen that. That was a documentary, and he was involved in that. And he was investing his money, when you talk about the women, what he was doing with the Mamba stuff for his daughter and working with young women and young girls, training them and not only dealing with them in basketball, but dealing with them on other levels of, speaking to them as a mentor, encouraging them, and things like that. So he was very much involved, for what I know, in stuff that we don't see because it's not always going to be glamorized because they're just doing the work. Everything is not always highlighted unless you're walking around with a camera all the time and you're documenting it. And most of these people, when they're doing stuff like that, they don't want the cameras around. They just doing their duty or what they feel is, their part in the community. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, maybe you haven't done enough research or haven't acknowledged that there was a lot more that he did do, and he would have done way more if he had the time to do it. Now, in the time that he has completed, like Gary said, 2 years ago, he retired. So he's fresh off of retirement. Who knows in the first year if he wanted to just, he's been playing basketball for whatever amount of years, back to back. So he's, trying to enjoy his, retirement, if he even did that, or spending time with his family, then getting back into basketball with his daughter and doing the programs that he was doing. We don't know exactly what he did after retirement, if he just took a vacation for a week and went back to doing some type of business. The man has businesses behind the scenes. So I think that there was a lot more, again, that was being done that's not acknowledged or exposed as much as, just the highlights that they want to highlight. And he was a lot more than to it. Now, in comparison to Magic Johnson, real quick, okay, hold on. And in the comparison to Magic Johnson, look at Magic Johnson's time from when he retired to when he got into the businesses and started opening up the theaters and being part of Starbucks and things like that. So I think that it's different time gaps and time spans on how they did what they did, and if the brother had enough time, he would have done a lot more. Go ahead, Gary.
So
I got one more.
Hold on. Let's take it off of Kobe for just a second.
Yeah, before you answer, let me open one more line because I don't want this lady to drop off.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Lady Ottawa. Is that you, Lady Ottawa?
Yes.
All right. Just sit right there. You may answer.
Hold on. So let me, brother, doctor or Q or whatever. Let me give you the last one.
Because you
all right. So I'm gonna say this. Hold on. I want to say this last thing about the hospital, and then you could answer this. So the last thing with the hospital.
Add too much information, we're going to forget what you just said.
Yeah, brother, are you a doctor or what? Are you a doctor?
J-Man.
Go.
Ain't no reason to be combative. We're just having a conversation.
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Okay. And then I ask you after. Go ahead.
So there was no the correlation with Kobe was not so much about Kobe, but if you had money like Kobe. Now I did say that Kobe only really did stuff as it relates to sports. I compared with like LeBron and his school. I compared with like when him and Cookie started the movie theaters and what have you. My thing was not really about Kobe. That's why I added other celebrities in there. I'm saying if we had money like Kobe, it kind of goes to waste if we only do sports-related stuff. Maybe a school with that $400 million. Maybe revamping the teachers' unions in Los Angeles. So those were my examples for a solution. I think I might have said something about Kobe that might have got people triggered off just the Kobe, but I did mention Magic and LeBron and the schools they did. So, but go ahead though, sir.
No. It wasn't even no to go back at you, back and forth. It was just, I'm saying, I guess maybe you didn't say that, or what I acknowledged from him. So to put it in, to be clear, I'm just saying the things that I think, my opinion on what I see, what he was doing and what was the potential, and the difference from the other athletes or other people and what he has contributed. All right. So in the hospital situation, all right, I do agree with you saying that there might not be enough or black hospitals in the U.S. if you want to say, if we're talking about here in the United States. But I know there are black-owned clinics, what they call health centers, if you want to say, wellness, not wellness, but, where they go to the clinic and for checkups and things like that. On a hospital level, I don't know the dynamics of that. I do know that there's going to be a lot of, not red tape, but there's going to be a lot of paperwork and a lot of things that you're going to have to deal with the cities and the states, and have things in place for that. But I do agree it should be something that should be looked upon. Maybe getting a formula or talking to somebody that knows about that would be a great thing to have those entities come together and kind of, make it happen. So having the capital, the doctors, the people that know how to take that money and invest it the right way, and what needs to be done. Also, the people knowing the laws and what needs to be put in place in order to open up the hospital so they don't get caught up in anything legal. Another thing is that I know that they have to have insurance. So, I know that there's a lot of different dynamics to that, but I do agree. I hope that, at some point there will be, black-owned hospitals that people know about, not only in one, but in every city in America, where we have black communities and people from other nationalities that could come there and use their insurance in those hospitals. How about that? I'll leave it there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know the other lady got to speak, and but let me just say this. As it relates to hospitals, when it comes to wellness centers and clinics, it really depends on how that's structured. They have the angel investor clinics, which somebody done gave a grant or somebody done kicked in some money. I just went to a fundraiser for the city of Oakland for a health center that's in the hood. So that is not something that's necessarily funded and ran by people just attending. Because a lot of times when it's lower level people coming in, they ain't necessarily got the money or got the good insurance or the ability to pay top dollar or what have you. Now that they got ACA Obamacare, a lot of that gets paid, but now it's all about building up that situation. Last thing is, if people go out of their way to create these things, black folks need to make those things as their primary go-to. If you don't make those things as the primary go-to, what happens a lot of times is that place that you want it to be black, it gets less and less dollars flowing through there to where they end up shutting the doors. So a lot of this stuff, when it goes away, has to do with the customers not making them as the number one primary. I tell people all the time after 26 years of medical, if you got great insurance, go to some of these black doctors first. And if their customer service is not up to par, tell them, because a lot of times they don't know that their customer service is direct. But go there first and see if you can build up that. Stop running to something that you used to. You've been going to the Latin man all these years. I feel you. But try going to these black folks for at least one or two things. That way, they can get some of those insurance dollars. And I'm going to share the mic on that.
All right. Thank you, Jay. Sarge, you there?
I surely am.
All right. What's your question for Mr. Research?
I just want to comment. I want to follow up on what Jay brought up with you. And I just like to say that while I agree with most of what you said, I think most of what you said tonight is very enlightening and spot on. I just got to take absolute exception with you about that comment about Hispanics and their likelihood not to wish to go to war against another Hispanic country, and their loyalties would be divided. Now, that just did not comport at all with both my anecdotal and empirical observation of Hispanics with whom I served with in combat in several campaigns, or my historical research into the subject. Now, an excellent historical study on this matter is a book called Lost Battalions by Richard Slotkin. It's subtitled The Great War and the Crisis of American Nationality. I would recommend that book to you. It's extraordinarily interesting and informative and entertaining. But again, I served in combat with Hispanics in infantry and army units, and wherever I went, it seemed to me that Hispanics were overrepresented in combat units, particularly combat units that were volunteer, like airborne, air mobile, infantry, and ranger units. Now, as a police officer, among the most vigorous and ruthless in rooting out and arranging for deportation of felonious illegal aliens were my Puerto Rican, Mexican, and Cuban colleagues, and they were particularly advantaged owing to the facility with, the Spanish language. Now, this, of course, is before Democrats created sanctuary cities and states. And now, according to the U.S. Census, the largest single ethnic group in the United States is people of Germanic descent, 36 million of them. Now, the ranks of Medal of Honor winners during World War II is wildly overrepresented with Germanic last names who were fighting in Europe against the Germans. The top leaders of the United States Armed Forces in World War II were replete with Germanic last names: Eisenhower, Arnold, Spaatz, King, Eichelberger, Nimitz. Same thing with the Japanese in World War II, the Nisei, the fabled 442 Regimental Combat Team, most highly decorated unit in the United States Army. And even though they were fighting in Europe, there was a sizable number of Japanese intelligence officers who served in the Pacific against the Japanese. Now, why is this so? Because the United States is different than other armies, like the Austro-Hungarian Army of World War I or the Soviet Army in World War II, where they had huge numbers of people who deserted and even went over to the enemy side. I mean, the Germans recruited hundreds of thousands of Russians who fought against the Soviet Union. This different with the United States. The reason is because we don't view ourselves. I know ethnicity is important. It always has been. Hell, I was in the 1st Cavalry Division. Its song is Gary Owen. That's an Irish song that Irish cavalry troopers would sing on the plains when they were fighting against the Indians. So, I mean, we recognize ethnicity, but we don't look upon it as paramount. Your paramount duty as a soldier, and is drilled into you from the minute you come into the armed forces, is that you have taken an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States and obey the orders of the people appointed over you. And this is the way they stress it. Your loyalty to your unit, your loyalty to your country. That's not the way it is in other places, and that's why it almost never happens in the United States, or with people who are either citizens, either naturalized, or join the armed forces with a green card. It just doesn't happen. There is no record of such a thing in any war the United States has ever fought in.
Right. Let me make something clear. What I said was, and I should have made the difference between, because I just said fight, and everybody assumed I meant military. But I made the point about how the Japanese citizens did not want to go spy. So what I was referring to was your average rank and file person who's fought to come over here to this country, not the military. Military has its own code. Military has its own unilateral thinking. They're the warriors. They have their own unilateral thinking. I'm talking about the average people who come over and say they down for America. The average people who come and say they down for America are less likely to want to fight against less likely, not say totally, less likely want to fight against their own folks. Shoot, you got Israel people who know that what the Polish people over in Israel are doing to the Palestinians is wrong, but are defending them all day long. So it's like my whole point in bringing all that up, and Sarge made a good point. I'm not arguing any of what Sarge is saying as it relates to the military. What I'm saying is, unfortunately, our people don't understand that it's all about numbers. And for a lot of people who are in this country, they are not America first thinking. They're relying on black and brown folks to do majority of the fighting while they kick back. Sarge will even tell you when the bombs fell on New York, there were so many Saudi Arabians and Persians flying out of this joint on private planes. It was amazing. Wait a minute. Why y'all leaving? I thought y'all was Americans. That's my point. But go ahead, Sarge.
Well, I understand that, but look, I don't even think that's
Sarge. Chill. Let me say something. Well, that tells the proof that they weren't American, because the minute they'll say, oh, it's one our people that did that, let me get out of it, because they're going to try to get at us, man. So for protection, self-preservation, said, let me go back home.
Okay. But look, let's face it, they don't have a long record of ethnic. Look, for the most, there isn't a significant record of Muslims living here in the United States. Yeah, they've always been here pretty much since, I don't know, the 19th century, but not in large numbers like other ethnic groups here. So, I mean, I'm not going to say, I really don't believe their a record of loyalty to the United States is as ingrained as other ethnic groups is. And you got to remember, the children who were sent to fight for this country received their learning from their parents. They would either tell them of their a need to serve, either for practical reasons, just to show that we are in fact loyal Americans, or because they actually believe they should be defending their adopted homeland. So you got to remember, they got their training from their parents, who were not going to fight themselves.
Let me ask both of y'all a question.
No. Jay, we got Ottawa on the line. So
okay. Let me ask you a question.
Sarge, so Sarge, if you could wrap up, I want to get Ottawa to get in here to ask her question. Sarge?
Yeah,
right,
go ahead.
All right. I think Ottawa, you there?
Yes, I'm here. I too wanted to ask him a question about his comment about the Spanish people. But one thing I was hearing I wanted to address was in 1935, the Ethiopian War with Mussolini, the Italian, and Italy. There were many, many African-American men who enlisted to go over and fight with the Ethiopians. But this country, this government blocked it and didn't allow them to leave and fight. So, I think what we're talking about here is people having their culture intact, having a sense of who they are, knowing who they are. And in terms of the Spanish people, I think I agree with the gentleman that, if Hispanic or Mexican people were to fight with the United States military and was fighting their people, 9 times out of 10 they wouldn't want to do it, because their culture, their language, they have a consciousness about who they are. So I think that they would be hard pressed. And I think that goes with most people that have their culture and language intact. That's all I wanted to share with you.
And to her point, my only thing is, as it relates to black folks, not really focusing on the Spanish folks, as it relates to black folks, what we're going to see in 2030 is the same thing I saw in France back in 92. You're going to see the rise of our Pakistani and Indian cousins sticking together. You already see them taking over plazas, old abandoned plazas. You see them taking over those left and right. You see a lot of people coming in and not giving jobs to a lot of black folk. So understand this. Some people are race loyal, but us as African American people, we're still gender fighting each other. while this is going on. Your daughter.
Well, I think language is a barrier too. I, promote especially young people to be multilingual. And when we open up the lines of communication, the schisms and whatnot, that'll fall to the wayside, because you have to understand that immigrants that come into this country, they've already been told who to associate with in this country. And even Africans that come into this country, they're told when they're naturalized that they should not associate with the African American people here in this country. So that is something that is across the board in terms of immigrants being naturalized here. There's a lot of stuff that goes out here about the people who are in this country, and the perspective that is given to especially foreigners is one that is negative.
Well, my lady, the only thing I would say to that, it's not so much language that fixes it. I speak a little bit of Gujarati. There's the language doesn't really fix it. Black folks have to be seen more as an advanced mathematical people. That's what they really want. They want to see us the way English blacks are seen, as people who want to be supervisors of Indian folks and managers of white folks. That's what they want to see. When they don't see that class of people, they tend to look at it as, and I think Sarge knows this, certain countries look at not your skin color, but what type of work you do. And they consider you as a office worker, manager, or you're a service worker. Doesn't matter if you're a well-paid service worker. Doesn't matter if you make more than a manager. They just look at these classifications in other countries, and I think even Sarge could tell you that one.
Well, I want to beg to differ, and I'm going to be done, because this is I think this is interesting. Mathematics is our shit. We're the ones, African, dark melanated people are the ones who are the mathematicians, who are the ones who created calculus and whatnot. So I have to beg to differ. Our students, if they are engaged properly, excel in every area of mathematics and science. I'm a teacher. You said that you're a medical doctor?
No, ma'am. I work in medical finance.
You work for medical finance?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Thank you.
Listen, let me throw some stuff in. You tapped into the Pakistanis, what they're doing. Now, let's go back. I want to talk about we talk about a unique situation with the Israelis, right? What other country besides Israel has permission for a U.S. citizen to work and live in the Americas and also fight for their country besides Israel? Can you give me a list? Because I don't know off top.
I don't understand the question.
Okay, so Israelis could be a dual citizen and live in Israel and be a citizen, and they also could be a citizen in the U.S., and they're obligated, right, to serve in the military over there, right?
Okay.
Now, America allows that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to ask, what other country allows that, or America allows that to happen?
None.
Is there other countries?
No. From my understanding, 1942, when the British brought the Polish people over to Palestine and allowed them to occupy Israel, that was the only unique situation where that happens, where that America, for some reason, is paying Israel every year for what Hitler did. There's no other situation like that. Chinese don't have that situation. Who else is America? Cool. England don't have that situation. Nobody has that situation except the Polish people who came over from the camps of Poland and were put there in 1942.
Yeah, Yeah.
How did you connect that with Hitler? What did you say about Hitler? I'm sorry.
Okay, the reason why the Polish people are in Israel in 1942, if you Google 1942 Palestine map, you will see Palestine is pretty huge. What happened was when Hitler fell, the British brought those people over to Palestine. Actually, YouTube has the first 42 and 43. There was a war between the people they brought over and the Palestinians who fought back. So all of that happened because America, for whatever reason, wants to give reparations. I call it reparations every year to Israel for what Hitler did.
Yeah.
But Hitler
I'm afraid you got the timeline a bit wrong.
Hitler wasn't in Palestine.
I didn't say
that. You got the timeline wrong.
Oh, okay. Well, let's get it correct.
Okay, here's the timeline of the British mandate of Palestine. But yes, there were Zionists who were migrating to the British mandate in Palestine in the 1930s. This caused a great deal of unrest with the Arabs. So the British tried to minimize the number of Zionists and Jews who were immigrating to Palestine. They actually had a quota. And in time, they actually completely shut it down. Remember the movie Exodus? They had to smuggle themselves into Palestine illegally in violation of the British mandate. So they were actually not transporting them there because the Arabs were raising such a rush. They were fighting riots that killed hundreds of people.
Wow.
So it's simply not true that the British were exporting Jews into Palestine. They were not. That is simply ahistorical.
Well, it's deep. I didn't even want to get that deep, but I just wanted to say it's funny how America only allows Israelis to work, to be citizens here and then fight for another country. I've never heard of that, and that's why I just found out.
You ever heard of the Spanish Civil War, sir?
Well,
you ever heard of the American Volunteer Group?
Guys, one at a time. Hold on.
I got you. Good.
Somebody will speak. Ms. Reasearch, you were saying something?
Well, I just want to say what I'll say to what Sarge says. Sarge says that didn't happen. All I know is if they were getting over there by foot, I don't know how they got across that water without British boat help. But if you're saying that they got over without British boat help, and that YouTube video does not have them getting off the British boats onto land, then I will go with what you said because you're in the military, you probably know it. But I'm just going off what I see and what people write about it.
Well, you got to remember there was a commission of inquiry headed by the British, Sir William Peel. He was a British peer. Now, the conclusion of the Peel report was that Palestine was two distinct cultures, and the political demands of both were irreconcilable, which is why they felt they had to petition the land. Now, this is in 1937. Then the Arab Higher Committee declined these recommendations of the British Peel Commission, and they started to stir up their people to riot about it. A revolt broke out. And then the British had a very heavy-handed response to the riots and the disturbances by the Arabs. And they might have killed maybe 3,000 or 4,000 Arabs trying to put down the riots. So then the mandate government dissolved the Arab Higher Committee, declared it an illegal body, but then they issued this white paper in 1939. And that was where they decided, in order to keep the rest down, to limit the number of Jews coming into Palestine. So it is simply not true that the British encouraged them. Now, I understand that there were probably things going on under the table, like there is never any situation involving mass turmoil and discord where somebody isn't willing to accommodate somebody else. It always happens. I'm saying it was British policy not to allow them into the country. Again, I want to remind you of the movie Exodus, with all those Jews sitting on boats trying to get into Palestine, and the British wouldn't let them in. This is after World War II. The British wouldn't let them off the ship.
No problem.
And that was also a strategic move, wouldn't you say, Sarge? Because after the Ethiopian war, that area there was very crucial strategically. I'm speaking of Palestine. So
yes, I agree with you. That's why I'm saying they did not let the Jews in. They're trying to appease the Arabs.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it's getting deeper than what the whole thing was. I wanted to just kind of tap into it's ironic, and it was good. Hold on. It's good information that what you gave, and then I wanted to tap into going back to what the brother said with this Pakistan's and kind of get in depth with that when you said what they're doing over there and what they're doing here or what they're about to do here, because I kind of see it almost like every other immigrant group that has come here for generations, and they're just repeating or filling in the gap that was there before that now somebody else don't want to do, that moved on to another, higher plateau or something, another field. You know what I'm saying? So explain to me what they do in Pakistan, because Europe is a different dynamic. It's structured different how they deal with the immigrants. But go ahead.
Okay. So let's just agree what Sarge is talking about. Let's just use his methodology. It still doesn't negate that numbers are supporting numbers. It still doesn't negate. It's still, no matter whether it happened 37, no matter whether the British are not involved, I can be incorrect about that all day. As far as my people, our people, we need to understand that like-minded ethnicities are sticking together for like-minded ethnicities. And that's an undoubtable fact. America still pays the Polish people in Israel every year, no matter whether Britain brought them or not. Those reparations go to them every year. There's no strategic value for them being there because there was no strategic value when they wasn't there. So it has nothing to do with nothing. But with that aside, let's go to Jay's question.
No, we're not going to Jay's question. I'm off X. Been waiting patiently. I say you go. Off X, you there?
Yes. Good evening, everyone. How you doing? I suppose you've been going at the Miss Ottawa. Good evening, guy. Good evening, Q. Okay, go ahead.
Let me open one more line because somebody raised their hand. Let me see what this is.
All right.
Hello? Who's this? Hello? I'll be in line.
This is Ottawa.
Is Ottawa again? No, I opened a new line.
You probably want to read off the last three numbers or whatever it is.
No, because there's some numbers. This queue is kind of different. They go by names and numbers. All right. Well, I'm gonna do this. If you speak, hello, I see. Is that you? Who's this? I'm gonna mute you. Yeah,
let me just take 30 seconds just to answer this Jay thing. Well, what I'm trying to say with Pakistan and everything is that you have a group of people in France and England sticking together, okay? And that's not to say that they're terrible people. It's just that our sons and daughters are not in these offices at the rate they was in the 70s and 80s. Our sons and daughters are fighting each other for very low-level jobs. And some of the jobs that we work at, we're not able to get our own son and daughter at that company. Not like people who just got to America. And my concern is the children of 1930 are going to look back and say, what was y'all doing with that with the birth of the internet? Arguing with each other? And I yield my time on that.
All right. I don't know if you want to respond, Jay, because I want Alfax to talk. Do you want to?
No, go ahead.
All right, Alfax, what's good, brother?
How you doing? Well, what's good, guy? How you doing? Yeah, I'm a patient man. I'm not going to be too long. First of all, I must promote the show Friday, guys. We're going to do a remix of the award and acknowledgement show. Remember the show that we had last Friday? Clips were missing. We had, BTR problems or what have you. But it's going to be a 2-hour show from 9 to 10, and we will put up we're going to have the thumbnail on YouTube, and we're going to put up the banner that's going to be on the website, how much we raised for black businesses this year on the TRS platform. But anyway, once again, how you doing, Q? You know me, I start trouble. I had to take off your mask, but it's good that I still know your voice. It's wonderful to hear that you're still alive, and you haven't changed much, so that's good. I applaud you for coming over here because we may not agree, Q, but you do care about your people. You are concerned about your people, and sometimes we can disagree to disagree and move on, but we still want the same goal. We want betterment for ourselves, our family, and the black community at large. Q, what you're hearing from some people, I'm not going to mention names, because they're not really black African-American ethnicity. You know, they may be other cultures. I don't know. But your concerns is kind of true. When you get to IT, my suggestion, this is Talk Real Solutions. First of all, don't stop going into the STEMS programs for our children. Even though we hear Q saying, oh, it may be bleak for a black person, what I'm hearing, it may be a little bleak, and people may hear and they may be discouraged. No, I say still get educated. Still try to get at least 15% of black people are working in IT businesses they own, or working for IT companies when it's ran by predominantly white people. So that's a goal that we can ask the government, ask private businesses, and ask our community at least let's 15%. That equals our population. So that's a starting point. That's a number. That's something that we can reach. And when we reach it, we can say, okay, we completed something. It can be more, or it can be equal to that, or it can be more. But never discouraged, because they can't take that education away from you. And I understand what you're saying, Q, about the immigrants. But once we educate, and if we can have an agenda, like black IT professionals who can have an agenda, when government contracts come out with IT, we should get not just 3%, about 15% guarantee for black African Americans. But let me move from that. See, a lot of people, they have different ways of thinking about what's a black African American, what's culture. And I'm going to say this, Q, people saying that, and people like Sergeant, I'm going to fall back after this, about reparations. And the argument is you can't get a special group of people, such as black African Americans, reparations. And I'm disappointed with ADOS because if you don't get reparations first, right? Well, I'm sorry. If you let them pass bills for people of minorities or low income and pass that bill first, and that bill is going to spread across the board, you can't get reparations for black people after that. Reparations for black people must come first, then make bills for other people. Because if you don't do it, they're not going to give you reparations. They're going to say, we just passed $1 trillion bill for poor people, free education for everybody, so why black African Americans you going to do it? It doesn't make sense. It's like algebra crosses out. But having said this, Q, and this is my last point, that argument is wrong because you said they give money to Israel, they give money to other countries. Well, Israel, it's a country. It's a special group of people because they say that they are a country and they have their own ethnicity. Ethnicity is synonymous with culture. With their religion is a part of their culture, which is a part of their ethnicity, what they wear, their music, their traditions, even their laws. Okay, even your ethnicity and culture can come into your political laws. It's kind of hard to separate your religion or your culture from your politics or how you govern your people, because it's how you govern on people's behavior, what they can and what they cannot do. So when people use that argument, Q, that you can't get for a special group of people, America do it all the time when they give aid to a country, which is a special group of people. When they pass laws for immigrants, yes, you have South African immigrants, Puerto Rican, Dominican Republican immigrants, Haitian immigrants, right? There's different type of Asian immigrants. You have all these immigrants, but they're part of a group of immigrants, which is a special group of people. So black African Americans can be a special group of people. In the Constitution, they had the 3/4 clause. That mathematics says, okay, we have to count these special group of people So a person can get in the legislative branch of government, right? We do it all the time. So what I want to ask you, what do you think, or the two questions, what do you think we Black African Americans should do in the STEMS program as far as getting help from the government and private institutions in this argument about we can't get reparations for black people because this government is not going to give benefits for a special group of people within this country, okay, within this country. In what order should bills be passed? Orders for minorities first, then reparations, or reparations, then that? That's my three questions, Keith. Right, and nice to hear from you. I'm going to fall back. Thanks.
Let me high speed through this. So, number one, what all facts said is true. There's a lot of black people who are not Black American first thinking. Mm-hmm. I exposed a couple of my fans on my YouTube channel who were like, let the community die, and come to find out they from Africa. So there's a lot of people.
Before you continue, who are these people? I need to know.
Nah. You know that's not how I do. I don't do it.
All right. Well, like I said, text me the names. I'm gonna say it.
There are people who are of other cultures, but at least they're respectful of other people's plight. Another thing all facts said is true about America. America gave reparations to Italians in New Orleans. I'd say this to white folks all the time. The people who got put in the Japanese camps for not wanting to fight, they got a little bit of money.
Yeah, we all know that. I knew that. I came across.
At one point in time, they around the time of I think it was Baby M, they was kicking out Jews and Polacks out of this camp. Now, they didn't get no reparations, but they got apologies and love. And so, yeah, they've always had those things. The problem is black people have to stop fighting so hard for the mayonnaise man. Got to stop doing that. You got to stop fighting against each other just because we disagree, just because she's a female, I'm a male, I don't like how you date. All that stuff needs to go away, because what these people are doing is sticking together even if they don't like each other, and slowly taking over. Another thing All Facts said is true, but I didn't say it. But All Facts, I said that, yeah, these people do get reparations every year or some type of financial funds. They serve really no purpose, but they get it anyway. But a Jewish person can be a Jewish person in Russia. A Jewish person can be a black Jew person. They got black Jews in Russia. A lot of people don't know the biggest gay celebration in the entire world happens in Israel. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on folks don't have any idea of, but nevertheless, why give them money? All Barbara Lee is asking for, Barbara Lee is the one who wrote the current bill, let's have a study on it. You don't even have to break no bread. Let's get this study part out of the way, because in order for you to get bread like the Italians got in New Orleans, you got to have a study. Everybody, let's just have a study. Let's just get that part. So when people are fighting against the study, or when the sons and daughters of the BTR community don't recognize that they're joining the white man, when they say, "Man, we ain't study ain't gonna do nothing," you helping these people take over when you do stuff like that. It's better for you to just say, "I don't really got no opinion. If they get it, they get it. Cool." We have a problem as a black community with the fact that we're failing the children of 2030, myself included. We're failing these kids. And the children of 2030 are going to be born, and they're going to have to, like Ms. Ottawa says, speak multiple language, all this stuff, just to work at McDonald's. And if for any reason they don't have all of that, guess what? I guarantee before I die, they're going to, because they did it in France and they did it in England, the rise of my Indian and Pakistani cousins mean that at some point in time they're going to start having domestic worker jobs available once again.
Oh, wow.
And I guarantee it.
That's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem.
I saw it in 92. Well, you know what? Matter of fact, and All Facts should love this, because this is something for All Facts to research. You too, Chaos. Slavery was over with in England, right? Because They didn't. It's like, nah, we really not going to do that. But they had to create a law in 2010 because there were so many Indian families secretly having slaves captured in their attics and basements.
Wow.
There were so many. Look it up. Don't believe me. There were so many Russian guys having Serbs and Ukrainian dudes as slaves. They had to make a special law in 2010 to stop any person having a quote unquote servant or slave on their property. See, I know because watch what happens in America. If these jobs run out, Miss Ottawa, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. If these jobs run out and you say that education is that piece, what I'm going to suggest is that the children of 2030, because we're seeing it right now, if they don't meet those measuring sticks, if those parents do not pour into those children to be multicultural, or if they just fall by the wayside, the only jobs that are going to be available, because you already don't see a lot of black boys at these fast food places no more, unless you're in an all-black city like Baltimore. You already see these black girls are not allowed to work in these delicate office jobs anymore. They fighting your son to get a FedEx job delivering packages.
Mm-hmm.
That's already happening, ladies and gentlemen. We can't fight Mr. Research on that. So 2030, I guarantee, because I saw it happen in France, I saw it happen in England, the only thing that's going to be left is these cut my grass, clean my house type of jobs. And then those children are going to be like, what? How did these black folks go from the 80s to not having nothing with the invention of the internet? And we're pushed out to the outskirts where there ain't no jobs. My sister just bought a house 40 miles away from where she works. It takes her an hour and 15 minutes one way to drive. I said to her, sis, when you die, your sons are going to have to sell that property because ain't nothing out there. There's nothing out there but fast food and retail. Oh, maybe it'll get developed. Okay, we've been around here for what? You guys been around. You guys older than me. Y'all been around here for 60 years. Ain't nothing been out here. So my point is we got to be real careful that we're doing too much internal fighting. We're trying to one-up each other, and it doesn't really matter if I'm wrong. The thing I'm saying to chaos, and I'm saying to everybody that's young, we are failing. We older people are failing you younger folks because we're not building the lane for y'all. We're supposed to be managers. I manage one Pakistani, 15 black dudes, and 4 white people. I fight my butt off to be manager. I refuse to take lower level jobs because I got to be able to pull my people in. I got to be able to try to train my people to be supervisors. I'm proud of that. So we have to recreate that because that's what the competition is doing. The competition is making sure right now that an Indian guy that just got to his country is going to be the manager over chaos. But
Q. I'm sorry. I want to say this. I'm not going to disrespect you, Mr. Research. Listen, you're thinking if we multiply that by millions, we'd be good. You're speaking your religion right now. People ain't had that. Even if we talk about what you just said, someone has to be proactively and think that. That's why we had this think black business first. When the options is available, shop at a black business, send your receipts in, and you win some prize money. People had a hard time doing that because they're not on that consciousness. That is what you just said. Listen, and even me, because I've said many times, listen, they offer me a supervisor position. I have the attitude, you know what, I'm just worried about myself. I don't want to have to deal with no problems. I want to make my money. Just tell me to do what I do, and I'm chill, right? And people always ask me, do I want to do it? I always turned it down. Now, listen to you, it may motivate me. I don't know, because you was like, yo, I don't take that management positions, and I try to get my people in. Maybe I need to go ahead and try to go ahead and research that and think that. But what you just said, it's a sense of consciousness, and for the most part, people don't think like that because they think what you're saying is racist. No, it's not racist because we have to worry about if you're a black person and you have a supervisory position, you have to make sure affirmative action is happening in your business. Not saying that you're going to hire all black folk now in the private industry, 7-Elevens, all of them hire their folk. They don't be worrying about mostly black folk in the other cultures. They hire their people. But in other big industries where laws, I'm not talking about your mom and pop shops, your corner stores. I'm talking about 300 employees or less, and you may be middle management or, I don't know, supervisor or hiring positions. Yeah, you can take that into consideration. But I'll fall back, Mr. Research. But okay, I'm just saying it's a mindset that you're going to have to, people that might think like that, though.
Yeah, you're right. Let me just say this 30 seconds before somebody else speaks. What all facts said is just right. I work in a lot of areas where I'm the only black dude. And when I say people, when they become manager, they look out for their people and nobody says nothing. I've been at all Filipino departments, all Chinese departments. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they got hospitals right now where I heard one of the black nurses complain to me that she doesn't even have the power as the head of the nurses to reprimand a Filipino nurse because once they find out one of their people is getting reprimanded, Filipinos from all different types of departments come, write letters on the person's behalf. They're about their people. This is the same thing I said about some people who practice feminism. Imagine if black men practice manism with the white man, the way some black women practice feminism. Oh, women, we got to look out for each other. Okay, but now you realize that most of those white women voted for Donald Trump. Now you realize most of those white women love patriotism. Now you realize most of those white women do not even practice the feminism that y'all say they do. You got to realize what's coming. 2030 is going to be a change for everybody. I guarantee it. It ain't no hyperbole.
No.
It's coming.
Well, Q, let me say something. And MJ and Ty, I think y'all missed something. It says, I just want to say that MJ says not all sisters are FedEx or UPS workers. Some have their own boutiques, hair product lines, jewelry lines. They are selling out their own artwork. Listen, he's not saying I guess they're saying when you said the FedEx workers stuff. No. Sisters are competing with one guys for, FedEx jobs and UPS jobs. It's a matter of fact. When you have young college students, some of these college girls are going to compete with jobs when it comes to warehouse jobs versus Amazon. But I don't think you said that all black women are that. No, we're just talking about young people.
What happens in our community when somebody makes a point, we try to go to a different type of spin. Nobody ever said anything about an entrepreneur coming up with a business that gets some type of bag. Anybody can get a bag for 2 to 3 years. Everybody who does business will tell you can get a bag for 2 or 3 years. It's your 5th year you got to be concerned about. And if you're not able to see your 10th year, just because people happen to have a shop don't mean that they're not renting a chair for 5 years. Own the salon is a totally different thing. What I made the point of, can you bring your child into the job that you work at? I'm not saying you can't bring your child into a business that you own. Hallelujah if you're able to do that. What I'm saying is, are you able at the place you work right now? I specifically said office work, which is a very feminine type of thing, even though guys work there. I work in an office. But are you able to bring your son or your daughter up right now? Hey, give my son and daughter an application. I want them to work in the mailroom. If you don't have the power to do that for your own seed, that's a problem. Because I guarantee these other ethnicities are going to find a way to get their people in. That's the point I'm making. Let's not.
And when you're at a business, and guess what? When you're at a business, sometimes the supervisor says, "Do you know anybody who's looking for a job?" They will ask you, "Do you have any friends or somebody that can fill this position?" I'm trying to tell you.
Let's not transfer this over to a landscaping business or hair business and all this type of stuff.
Research.
You know, you can get a bag. You can get a bag of money. The problem is are you able to continue to get that bag 5 years later, or do you have to keep restarting that business? And are you able to bring your child into that business? If you're a hair person, you sell hair or whatever it is you do, great. Does your child know about the margins of your business? Have you sat your child down and talked to them about margins? Well, you're doing the same thing. Well, you're doing the same thing. If your child, if you've had a business for 2 years, and your 12-year-old child don't know about margins, what are you doing to this kid? It's the same premise. Now, by the time the kids start hanging out with people 16, she ain't thinking about, you know what, I look at the percentage of this product versus the shelf time of that. They're not looking at that. But guess what? Right now, which is the purpose of a bar mitzvah, there's a Jewish boy and a Jewish girl just had bar mitzvah, know everything about margins.
Right. And Mr. Research, and I don't like this, but look at Judge Kushner. When his father got locked up, he was 25.
Yeah.
Now, he went to visit his father every weekend, but he...
Alfax, you know you heard me. I'm trying to get order here. I have people now raising their hands crazy. I want to get through these calls. We can go on and on, but I like some people to come in and time in and ask questions, you know. And MJ, for the record, please call in. We're not going to have this back and forth for the chat room. No. He's here. You know this man. Please call in and ask your question and your frustration. He could probably explain better in person than this back and forth.
And also, let me say this. Sometimes when a person is speaking, they get misheard. So what you think that they said, it's like tomato. What you think that they said may lean toward your understanding, but it may not necessarily mean what they're talking about. So all I'm saying is there's no such thing as all here. Anybody that's talking, I can't see the chat. For anybody that's talking all, there's no all here. We're just talking about the majority percentage, 75%, 30%, 1/3, 2/3. We're talking about that. There's always going to be somebody who goes totally against what I'm talking about. There's going to be a few thousand people that go against what I'm talking about.
Right, Mr. Reasearch, it's called for the most part. He's talking about for the most part. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah, so all I'm saying is that look at the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to the now. Black folks, we're losing. Yeah, we are getting bags, but we got to be bigger prostitutes. We got to be more male sluts just to get the bag now. We used to have union jobs all around this camp, but now we got to almost slut ourselves out and be less than just to get a bag. But go ahead. Sorry, Chaos.
All right. And you know, and you said something very important, because now if you look at in certain professions, certain industries, I see a lot more people that just to get notice, they're going to have to really sell out more. And the system made it that way now because they're pulling back on a lot of the things that get you some way to maintain yourself, and it's drawn back very fast. So now you're just going to slut yourself if you want to make anything in this country on average. But let me open the lines.
Now, you know that our young people also are going outside of the country. Huh? Yes.
I'm opening the lines. You got to wait for a second.
Okay.
Yashua, is that you?
Yeah, what's up? Hey, what's going on?
Stay right there. All right. Who's this?
Big J here.
Good. All right, Yashua, you have any questions for Mr. Research?
I don't have any questions for him per se. I just want to make just a little statement. I think a lot of times we try to deal with our problems again without dealing with the issues of slavery and Jim Crowism. I think we always do that. We try to talk about our problems without going to the source of our problems first. And I think we keep doing that. I think this is the thing. As far as failure, I don't think, we're failures. Our generation has failed someone. I don't think the generation before us failed. What I would say that there was a breakdown with the black family. That's what I would say. I don't think that education within itself has been our problem necessarily. I think our problem has been generational wealth and just in wealth and us running our own business. I think this has been our problem. So I think that we have to go back through some history and look at what happened to us as far as generational wealth first before we can deal with the problems now. Because what happened to us during the 1800s and the early 1900s, then we can predict and kind of get an ideal while we tend to be in the same situation again. And I think that, can I finish? So I think, again, that we keep doing this, and I think that, again, we have to deal with the ideal and with the practice of what we call white male domination as far as a economic front and what happened to us. We have to deal with that, and I think we keep looking over that, saying, well, we can do this. No, we have a problem, and our problem has been white supremacy in this country, and white people know this. If you talk to a person behind closed doors, they'll tell you they know what they did to us. They know what they did. They say, oh, yeah, we stifled you economically, so you can't move. That's what we did. See, the Chinese and the Pakistanis and all the rest of those cats that come here, they don't have the history that we have here in America. They don't have that history. They don't have that history of being totally disenfranchised. They don't have that history. They come here with a culture. They come here with a language. They come here with a way of life. That's what gets them over. And see, and white folks don't see them necessarily as an enemy. They see us as an enemy. They don't see them as an enemy like they see us as an enemy. So that's how I see it. I know people on this phone might not see it that way, but that's how I see it, and that's my point. That's all I have to say.
Well, let me say this, because respectfully, sometimes we say the same thing 4 or 5 different ways. But the actuality is, even if we hold everything true with Jim Crow and everything that came before it, I call it I hate Kunta Kinte, but I love Chicken George theory. Everybody was taught to love Chicken George because he was powerless and needed massive help to stay alive. But everybody was taught to hate Kunta because he could build his own stuff, hunt his own food, never get lost because he could look at the stars. So I get what he's saying. The problem is there was a kid born 10 years ago. Is that kid being taught mathematics to be able to know what margins are? Slavery has nothing to do with that. That has to do with the person now who's over that child, who is not indoctrinating that child with the ability to compete. The only reason I'm the way I am is because I was out on the streets, took my dope money, and said I need to get away from my family, go do something totally different, and went out on my own at 18 years old. By 19, 20 years old, I'm living in Romania because I made some connections in Seattle. Moved to a place I didn't know nothing about. I had enough money to have an apartment for 6 months. I was going to find a job. My point is, once I start getting exposed to people who didn't hate me for my skin, they loved me for wanting to drive, wanting to have power and think better. Cats was just helping me on GP. So all I'm saying is that to his point and to Ottawa's point, yes, you got people going overseas, but some people are going overseas for too much pleasure. Some people, I always get these dudes, and me and Chaos talked about this maybe a year ago. There's always dudes who say, why do black guys go overseas and get arrested or get in fist fights or get killed? I said, because nobody respects a person who looks like a student or a hip-hopper. When you put
I'm not talking about somebody just leaving United States, no skill set. I'm talking about educated black men leaving the country in corporate jobs. I know a number of them. I have a cousin in Korea teaching English. I mean, we can go beyond these borders.
Whoa. So I just want to understand. You believe a teacher has power in Korea?
No, wait a minute. I'm saying to you that there are other things going on outside of this United States of America. We have a whole world. And if you get a skill set, and specifically mathematics and science, there's a universal language. You can go anywhere and excel.
Okay.
Do you know that there are 250,000 jobs in Russia open up? They got a thing out now where they need mathematicians and scientists.
I understand.
250,000 jobs.
I understand, and I'm not saying that don't exist, but I just want to share with you a brother I just counseled about 2 months ago. He is over in China with the same type of situation, teaching. I said, dude, there's no power in that. Make sure that you're a manager or something. He went over there for the job, got the money. I said, make sure you read this paperwork. Listen to everything they told them. Didn't really do the due diligence on the paperwork. Yeah, they got jobs, but what they end up doing? They end up down. They learned everything they needed from. They did what's called a brain drain. They learned everything they needed from this guy. Once he became useless, they knew his systems, his pattern, and what they start to devalue him. Then he called me, talking about, I'm depressed. I want to quit. Oh, well, you can't quit because you've already invested. You've moved. You've left your other spot, and now you've taken this year contract. He said, man, I don't even think we're going to make it to 4 months. So respectfully to what you said, Ottawa, as a person who has lived in some of these places, I would suggest to you only this. Not that these brothers are not able to get these things. Just make sure you read the fine print and make sure you get it translated, because a lot of these positions that people are getting, you can go look on black people in Japan. There's a lot of people frustrated. They do get treated better than they do in the U.S. I'll give them that. But when it comes to some of the business stuff, a lot of people are frustrated because it's not about pulling you into the Japanese culture, pulling you into the Chinese. You're just there to get the bag and teach our sons and daughters how to do English. Once we got that from you, and one of our Korean people are able to do what you do, see you later. Your contract is over.
All right.
Hey, let me say this, Gary, right quick, too.
Here is the problem that I have, and it's about black social media. Now you sit there, Q. You sit there and stated about that black people are losing, but
here we go, Mr. Research. Here we go with this shit.
Chaos can I you knew the guy who
No, just talk. Guys, chill for a second. Go ahead, talk. We're listening.
Yeah, the thing is, you said black people are losing, but according to the census report, that there's 2.6 million black farms, and that's up from 1.9 million. So I'm trying to figure out why are you and others on social media, black social media, is painting this doomsday Armageddon talking point that is getting toxic.
Okay, let me ask you.
Hold on. I ain't done yet. It seems like
I thought you asked me a question.
No, somebody had feedback. Go ahead.
So to answer his question, here's the first question: how do they define black owned? Is it skin color? Does that justify it? I heard a person yesterday call a Saudi Arabian person black just because he's a dark-skinned Saudi Arabian. They was like, look at this black man with this white girl. I said, that guy is Saudi Arabian. He ain't even black. Well, he looked black. So what are we justifying as black? The second thing is, let's say that what Jay is saying is true. Why are not more of our people being brought underneath that blanket? I know a bunch of black doctors out here in the Bay Area of California who only have one black staff on their whole team. I'm not saying you got to do that. I'm saying that I don't see. If anybody listening to my voice, go to 10 offices over the next week. Point how many black people you see. Point how many black guys. Point how many black women. And I'm not talking about at a city that's predominantly black like Baltimore, Philly. I mean, go somewhere where it's sprinkled black, and I want to see how many black people were hired at the doctor you go to, at the dentist you go to. We got to start looking at it from that point of view, because that's where you're spending your dollars, and that's what Allfax was trying to say.
Right, and Mr. Research, sometimes you can go to some inner cities and see how many white women teaching all those black students and those black girls. But I want to say, guys, he said a census report. Won't Big J, Mr. Research, wait until 2020 is over, because until all the census tallies, I think his statistics that he just said, I think is a little dated. I just got my census paper in yesterday. So Big J, won't you just wait until the new census come out, and just wait till 2021? That's all I would say.
Even if it's true.
I find it unfair, though. So people ask me to call in, but then I keep getting muted.
Listen.
Go ahead, Jay.
Stop. Let me say something. I mute you because you're talking over, and I can't go back and hear it back. When I go back to this replay, people talk over each other, and he's trying to respond. So please be patient. He's going to respond. Wait, then respond. I'm back in line.
Here's
No. I was muted when I was muted.
Jay, let me just say this, Jay. Let me just say this, Jay. When people talk, sometimes y'all put 3 or 4 questions in one paragraph, and then nobody really understands what was said. But go ahead, Jay.
No. I noticed that there's favoritism on this platform. So therefore, though, I'm gonna keep it moving like this. You sit there and you use the premise that everything is bad, but yet I don't see. We like to discard data only when it suits, or only when it benefits the argument, rather than taking the data as it is and look at data and go from there. People want to take data and only going to use it when it's convenient. Now back to you. You sit there talking about there is no black businesses being made, but yet though I don't see people going to DeSoto, Texas. I don't see people going to Taft, Oklahoma. I don't see people going to Prince George, Maryland, in
Prince George County.
So wait, hold on. Wait a minute. Why you interrupt with me, Gary?
It's Prince George County.
Anyway, I don't see people who, y'all call yourself black, and y'all say that y'all for black pride and all of that, yet y'all never talk about the successful black areas and learn from those communities and bring it on to here. But yet y'all focus on we ain't getting ahead because we're black, and we all we got. Making these arguments rather than learning from the most successful among the population. So why is that, Q?
Okay, I
because
can answer.
Because the only argument I'm hearing from you, Q, is we getting our asses kicked 24/7 because of the quote unquote racist thing about mayonnaise and shit, and not studying, not learning from the best of us, and then applying what's from the best of us, and bringing it to the rest of the population. Thank you.
Okay, here's my question. So I want to ask Big J this one thing, and I want everybody to pay attention whether Big J answers this question or not. With all the success that you're talking about, Big J, why do black men have the highest rate of EEOC complaints about not getting hired, applications not going through, or getting fired? The floor is yours, Big J. Why do they have the highest complaint in the EEOC with all the success it's because?
Well, I see your question as a deflection, but I'll go ahead and answer anyway. Because some people fear
I'm still waiting.
Heterosexual black male. That's fear. But I'm not gonna play the racial identity politics card at this moment because I'm tired of hearing it. So because black men are feared in this country to some extent. But what does that have to do with the conversation with what I just said about not learning from learning?
You can correlate the two. I'm sorry, Mr. Research.
Hold on. Why ain't all facts muted, but I'm the one talking?
Hey, just answer, man. Just keep going. Don't worry.
We're just waiting for the answer. It's 3 minutes.
No. You don't want to accept the answer. I already answered the question.
Okay.
I already answered it because we are and also black men and also black men don't have or not educated to the extent that he should be. That's also another thing though. But yet you were trying to deflect from what I was talking about earlier about not learning from the highest income black areas like the Sotos, like Taft, like the place out there where you at in Georgia, over there in Maryland, like the other town over there in Ohio. Why ain't y'all on this black social media? And since though you're part of the black manosphere, why ain't y'all talking about that? But talk about black women in her ass hair weave.
Can we share the mic with you? Let's talk about it. So
a
lot of times I don't talk about those regions is because they don't have a proof of concept yet. Just because you see a 3-year model or a 4-year model, I want to see a 5 and a 10-year model. They used to say the same thing about Arlington, Texas years ago. They used to say the same thing about the southern part of Texas over by SMU years ago. The problem is sometimes people come in for a length of time, 3 years, 5 years, and they make that area great. But it's not necessarily the area that's great. It's those particular people and the jobs that they hold. Just because 14 people get together and take over a cul-de-sac, and they all used to work for the city of council at the city of Houston at one point in time, makes the area affluent, like Cascade in Atlanta. But Cascade in Atlanta don't do nothing for the rest of Atlanta. It's just where all the richer people who have succeeded live. So when you say so let me just say this last 15-second thing. So when you say take note about that, are you talking about take note on how they tackle our mayonnaise cousins in the business world? Or are you talking about get a house like they got a house and live how they live? I get confused.
Right, and let me say something, Mr. Research. Prince George's, I just want to say something. Prince George's County, where I live at in Maryland, let me just say something, and it goes what Q was saying. That's Marion Barry's county. All those, Marion Barry, they can say what they want about Chocolate City, D.C. He gave a lot of contracts, Mr. Research, million-dollar contracts to a lot of black people in D.C., right? And a lot of black people work for the government in D.C. That's why Prince George's County, that's why ADO says government jobs. Because one thing about federal workers, you guaranteed money, they got good jobs, so that's why Prince George's County is built like that. Q is talking about, for the most part, not anomalies. For the most part, when he says his name, and I got to back him up, Mr. Research, when you do research, you're looking for the most part. He's not talking about anomalies, Big J. That's what you're doing. He's talking about the whole, and as a whole, people listen. You may not think it, but some people in America and outside America look at the black male, it's last, then the black female, then the white woman, then the black, things of that nature. And I'm saying some immigrants, but the black male is on the lowest part of how society looks for the most part. And I'm just saying him bringing this research is motivation to do better. I don't think he's the meeting and saying we ain't shit, but it's a motivator and says, hold up, you need to step our game up. And I'm just saying that's what I hear. That's my point of view. But I'm going to fall back. I'm not going to say no more tonight, guys. Nice talking to you, Mr. Research. Y'all have a nice one.
Thank you.
Can I say something right quick? Can I say something?
Yeah, keep it brief. Yasha, go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to say this. Well, see, this is my whole point, and he mentioned he gave the story about the young man that went to China. China is the worst place for a black person to go. Period. That's the worst place to go. So let's get China out the way. Japan is one thing, and that's a different story. But my point is, this is why I dealt with what I dealt with about the black family, the breaking of the black family. And this is something that people don't want to deal with, is the breaking of the black family, and this how this helps to slow down the progress of black people in general, whether it be black males or black females. You see, so it breaks down both. My idea is this: since you gave the statistic about the EEOC, and you say that black males have the most complaints, that's the point. That's where I'm getting at. They have the most complaints not because they're dumb, not because they're not educated, because they're not getting hired. Their first one, they're not getting hired, and then when they do get hired, the first one to be let go. You see. Okay. So again, like I'm saying, the point of the matter is, I keep getting back to again, is the fact that again, we don't deal with the facts from historical context. Again, we keep getting away from historical context. We keep judging us based on the surface, not the historical context first, and bring it up and say, okay, this is why you still have these issues, because the same folk who want to be in power or still want to yield power over you, they're the same people who have some of the power. So, okay. So we look at that and just admit that, then I think we would be at a better place. I don't think that education is our problem necessarily. I think wealth is our problem. I think generational wealth will always be our issue, and it's going to be our issue for the next 30, 40 years, based on the fact that we was never able to recover from losing generational wealth. We didn't recover from that.
If we want to talk about generational wealth, right, and the breakdown of the family, let's really lay down some facts. I'm not going to come here and put down some old boring, worn out talking points that you've been hearing. Let's lay down the real facts, the reason why though you're having the breakdown of family. The breakdown of family actually came from the gold stock of 1971 when you had black men working in steel mills and automobile industry, and they got laid off. And when they got laid off, more divorces and single parent families rose during that occasion. So you have to go back to the gold shock of 71 and no, y'all, and I want y'all to look. Do not tell me I'm making shit up, because y'all can go online and look that up and see the stats for yourself. Now back to the point. At some point, though, if you want success, you got to learn from the best. You can't sit there and talk about the bottom 20%. The bottom 20%. The bottom 20% of Black America is not in online complaining about the white man or complaining about the bullshit online. What Black social media should be doing, and I know all facts coming there trying to butt in and talk about Prince George, but I really would talk about the Soto. That's I'm closer to the Soto, and the Soto been around for 20 years. It used to be a podunk, small crack of town, and now it's just teeming with rich Black people in it. And he had less poverty, and he had nothing but but big houses full of niggas in it. So I mean, You got to start learning from the best, or not I want to say best, the more affluent black areas. Learn from it, and take what they have, and bring it down to those who was on a lower totem pole. But to sit there though and make everything trying to equate all black people down to the lowest common denominator, that is I gotta say is flawed.
Okay, can I share the mic now? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's the thing, gentlemen. We got to get to a point where everything is not so combative. These are our ideas, and the listener gets to decide which ones they're going to use and which ones they ain't. So if we waste too much time knocking down what somebody says to justify ours, that's not good for the audience. Let's just make our case on what's better than what Q, Mr. Research, is saying. Let's dig into the family aspect. Ronald Reagan changed the laws, Joshua, for ladies, period. It does not matter how the child comes out, period. The whole family thing, we don't have a cultural flag that says to our boys, stop running and just impregnating these girls. We don't have a cultural flag that says to our girl, work it out with the father first before you run over here to the government. Because of that, the kids come up jacked up. So next time you speak, Joshua, please give us some solutions, because I know you want to talk about it, but give us some solutions on how we fix what Ronald Reagan did in 1986. Because in order to get what you're talking about, you have to redo the laws. And many of our ladies don't want the laws redone. We got something called father of record, Joshua, which means that if I'm a female, I can just say Joshua got me pregnant. Joshua ain't never even had sex with me. Joshua got me pregnant, and the government will go have a court case without telling Joshua and seize Joshua's bank account. And this happens all the time. It's called father of record. Go ahead.
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I saw something on YouTube of a man had to pay child support, and he's not even the father.
But that's what I'm trying to tell Joshua.
A name. She just
but
came
that's
up
what
with
I'm
a name.
trying to tell Joshua. He wants to fix the family dynamic. There are laws in place that allow some of our women to weaponize. You got some of the Me Too stuff that goes on, where they say, look, it don't even matter if Joshua had a consensual relationship. I'm mad. And I just want the government, 10 years from now, I saw Joshua driving by in an Escalade. I want to put a court case on him and say he raped me back in 1982. Now, she don't got to pay nothing. She don't have to pay no lawyer fees. She don't have to pay none of that. She don't even need an investigation. The DA just gets to decide, is Joshua important enough for me to throw this case at him? So when you want to fix these family things, you got to fix the dudes from just going impregnated. That has dropped since 2010. But now you got to fix the ladies from weaponizing. And when you speak about what we got to do. Say what the solution is. Say how you're going to fix that 1986 law so that the families can go back to what you're talking about. Going back to Jay, let me say this. Again, where is the solution? I hear a person saying, we got great houses in so and so forth. But here's the problem, Jay, and I said this before all of you guys came on. Most of us don't want to be managers. The first thing those successful people are going to tell you is be a supervisor, be a manager, learn margins. You got people that don't want to do that.
Well, Q, didn't I just sit there and state about 5 minutes ago about learning what works over there? What works is places like DeSoto in these other affluent black areas, and bring it to.
You don't need to do that. You just got to learn to be a manager. You just got to learn to be a manager.
Let me stop this. Before you continue, Mr. Research, because we're going to wrap this up. Right now, Big J, I ain't going to knock you. You sound like a broken record right now. You're repeating yourself right now. And we dealing with now, this is the solution part now. Now, Ms. Rich, can you please give a tangible solution? Because I think most people that listen tonight, they're not really getting the concept of what you're saying. We got to move beyond. If we're going to work, let's keep it real. Let's keep 100. If we're going to work, let me get this out the way. If we're going to work in these jobs, just say conversation, because a lot of black people are not going to build their own anyway. All right, again, it's better if you're going to try to put yourself in a position to get into the management part if you're going to work these jobs. That is the one thing I would take out of everything tonight that I've learned. You get me? Because this is something that's never taught to me or anybody else that I know that work. We never pick up anything beyond just getting by, working this job for a few years, and eventually, if the job changes direction, you get let go or something happens. This is something new that I'm learning from you tonight. You get me, Ms. Research? And this is one thing I want everybody to get a clear understanding, not just the women, but also the men. So go on where you about to say the switch part.
Okay. So let's get to Jay's solutions. So just to qualify it, my family has owned their property for 6 decades. Before I leave this earth, I'm going to be able to proudly say this has been black property for a century because I carry this on. Okay? Not everybody can say that. I took myself up from the hood, and I didn't even finish my college degree, which I'm going back to finish, and I got 5 certifications in my career. Okay? So when Jay said learn from some people who do these things, even the people better than me. So here's what Jay wants you guys to do, okay? I'm looking at my bookshelf. My entrepreneurship book is by Mayer and Allen, and it's for entrepreneurship, small business management. My macroeconomics 6th edition is McConnell and Brew. My micro book is 7th edition. It's from Arnold. My strategic planning book is from Olson. My business plans book is Tiffany Peterson. Where's the other one at? My business mastery book is 4th edition. That's Sonnen and Moe. My psychology book, which everybody should really do for a business, is by Norton. What else is up here? And for my career profession, I have health policy issues, economic perspectives. I have healthcare finance. I have information systems of healthcare management. So my whole point is just saying, to Jay's point, what these people are going to tell you do is go to these books and learn what they've learned to get how they get. I even have a Latin grammar book, which I haven't even finished yet, by Harper and Collins. So, and that's only because I got to speak Spanish to some of my people who work for me. So here's the thing I'm saying, man, and this goes to Jay's point. We got to cross-pollinate. But at the end of the day, black people, we have fallen in love with talking to just each other. We have fallen in love with disagreeing with each other. We have fallen in love with being in a chat room and saying disrespectful stuff about each other. Meanwhile, the children of 2030, they're going to see us gray hairs standing on the block. They're going to see us with gray hairs at the old folks' home. They're going to see us with gray hairs in the wheelchair, nobody to help us. I saw a dude in a wheelchair trying to push. He got evicted out of his place. He thought he had retired early, got evicted out of his place. Somebody got him in the medical system, and he couldn't pay that. And then the hospital ended up getting his house. He was pushing his bed down the street. It is real.
Damn.
It is real. People play this stuff for a joke, and what I'm trying to suggest to y'all is maybe, possibly, we could be doing better because the people of 70s and 80s, they got us beat. All we can do is get the bag. We can't keep the bag. All we can do is get 70, 80,000. We can't. So it's like we better start looking at this stuff because I guarantee if you guys start seeing more of the rise of the Pakistanis and the Indians, there are going to be less and less of y'all. Your children going to be struggling, talking about, I can't find nothing. And then they're going to have to travel all the way out just to get something. And you're going to look back on this day where I tried to say to y'all, we have fallen in love with Chicken George, dancing and boogalooing. And Kunta Kinte, we hate him. That's all I'm saying. Anybody else?
No, this is my final question because we've been and at times this is a very good conversation, very lengthy. I don't think we're going to push it so long, Ms. Reasearch, but I learned a lot. Like every time you come around here, I always think I can learn something different or about the world.
Well, if you notice, I've canceled my YouTube page and I'm officially about to be off of social media. I'm trying to get closer to the TV now because I got a thing I'm going to go try to do on Fox Soul. So I'm trying to get into I'm trying to get into the Fox to the TV realm now. But go ahead.
Okay. We have a new census, and have you ever looked at it? Because I think they create some new classifications for, like, let's say, the Pakistan and stuff. They might I'm not going to
look at it until the end of next year.
Good.
Until they get everything. Yeah.
Well, one thing I find with these groups, because America is changing who's who, that it makes you question if they're even going to qualify for these special benefits now. Now they have to put what they are. So I see they're going to try and close into these markets more. So that way, let's say America does draw back, they're well prepared, and I think they know it, and it's coming.
Well, Mr. Biden says he wants to make sure transvestites, this is his word, not mine, make sure they get civil rights also. So the fact that he even said that was very unique to me. We got to understand that. Here's what people tell me. Let me just put it this way. Here's what people tell me. Black folks don't stick together. Can't help them.
Mm-hmm.
And because black folks don't financially stick together, we verbally stick together, but black folks are not financially sticking together as they should. When TRS first started, way back when, was different than TRS right now.
Okay.
And it's like people got to understand, it doesn't even mean that I'm right. I hope I'm wrong, but when 2022 hit, and that recession start coming, because we got an eggshell now, so it's going to be a recession. When 2022 hit and that recession start coming, start asking yourself, wait a minute, why is it only black people living up underneath the bridge, homeless in tents? Where are the Indians? Wait a minute, hold on. Why is it only 26, 28-year-old black boys out here asking me for change? Where are the Asians? You know where they're at? In comfortable long-term jobs.
Mm-hmm.
No contract, no temp work. Long-term jobs with benefits, looking after each other. Got another dude just got off the bus the other day. There's this one lady, she just got, like one of my employees, she's a Pakistani. She just got to this country 3 years ago and makes $24 an hour.
Wow.
Fresh off the boat. No prior skills. $24 an hour. And this is what I'm talking about. It's like, but she was working there before I became her manager. But I'm like, people got to understand, this ain't no joke. This ain't no joke. The only reason I know this chaos is because I've moved up in my work. I'm not just a person that punches in every day. I work on budgets. I work on systems.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about computer systems. I mean people systems. How we're going to do this. This got to be done in a week. This got to be done in a month. Got to schedule how this is going to happen. And once you get on this level where you're moving people and money and budgets, now you get to see the real war.
Mm-hmm.
The real war is on that because everybody's working in groups. Latins are taking care of Latins. Whites are separated by the school area they went to. Vanderbilt's sticking with Vanderbilt's. Duke's sticking with Duke's. Stanford's sticking with Stanford's.
Mm-hmm.
Black folks ain't up on this level. The only reason I'm even able to see this stuff is I got 5 certifications. And they like, oh, wow. One of my certifications cost $2,000 I had to pay. And actually messed up the test the first time. So I do that stuff so I can reinvest in myself and stay afloat. But black people got to understand, all of us ain't black. There's a lot of people out there pretending, and they're talking anti-black. And soon, soon, you got my number. Soon you're going to reach out to me. Maybe 3 years from now, you're going to be like, Mr. Research, you was right. This shit is happening right now.
Yeah. You know, when I say the automation don't get you, is somebody else that they bring in will, one or the other.
Right. If you a Haitian, you kind of safe. If you a Jamaican, you kind of safe because you get to go to your local Haitian restaurant, connect with your Haitian people. Oh man, they got one over here. Just put in the application. I tell them you my cousin. See, that's the one thing I love about people who got a flag. They can always go to their local restaurant, connect with their people, and get put right into something. But people who don't have a flag, oh man, voting don't matter. Oh, that ain't gonna work. Or da-da-da. Now you're seeing less and less black people. My family is probably, there's 4 other people in this area who are black. Everybody else is gone.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
And I just moved back to California. My parents been in this spot for 60 years. The lady two doors down from my mom is getting older. Her son was like, man, yeah, we're probably going to have to sell this house, man. Yeah, because my sisters, they ain't got no money to take care of it. Look at this conversation, Chaos. They ain't got no money to take care of it. Yeah, we probably going to have to. You know what the first thing I said? I gotta stack up $250,000 so I can put down on this 1.1 house. Because it's probably going to go for 1.1, 1.2.
Yeah. And that's just the down payment.
Right. That's just $250 is just the down payment.
Yeah.
So you see how my mind thinking? I'm not thinking about arguing with All Facts or Big J. I want to connect 2 houses to my mother's property.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's my big win. The woman that's going to come in my life, she got to be on those type of thought process. I don't care if she got a big booty and all that. I like dark-skinned women. I like very, very dark-skinned women, but you got to have a brain.
Yeah, you got to be able to be useful at this time and age. Not everybody can sit back and can't be window shopper. You got to pull your weight, man. A lot of women, they feel
can't be sitting up here jumping in the bed talking about all you can do is spread eagle. No, baby. No. I need for you to learn some Spanish. I don't need for you to work 40 hours. No, work 32 hours and go to the gym for 8 hours. I'll take care of the rest. We got to work as a team because that's how it's getting now. And what I'm noticing, Chaos, sorry for being long-winded, but I know people listening, everybody else is working as a team but these ADOS people. The ADOS people are starting to act like the new Ku Klux Klan with each other. No, man. Chaos, I disagree with you, man. Man, what you talking don't make no sense, man. Ain't no such thing as tomato. It's called tomato. Oh, my God.
The brave world we live in today, man, Mr. Research, I tell you. But, this was a very, I would say, educational stream. A lot of people going to go back to this. They're going to probably hope to take some notes, some things that was left unsaid, besides the other things about the challenging each other about certain things, which I have no problem with. But, like I said, we can't afford to be fighting about ideology and whose idea is better or you're wrong because, if I work this, I'm good. We got to get beyond that now as people moving forward in the 21st century. It's about to get very serious in this year. I mean, I can see right now that how well we're going to sustain ourselves and survive just this year and now approaching us. It's going to be very test.
Look.
For the next 10 years.
Here's something really funny. I remember when I was on TRS back in the day, and this ain't no shot to nobody, so I'm not going to name names. But it's like I remember there was one guy who was on BTR all the time, wasn't doing well in life, living with moms. Yeah, mom was on a respirator. Real stuff going on. Mm-hmm. But you jumping online every day. No, you need to go be a manager, control something, bring your sister into the position, help your moms that way, not just It's ridiculous what we do, man. And then I noticed some ladies, like on YouTube, living in an apartment, talking bad about black men every day. Black men are trash. Black men are trash. Heard one girl sit up here, hey, y'all donate so help to help me and my daughter move. Huh? That's what we're doing?
The struggle is real, man.
Mr. Research?
Yes, ma'am.
Before you leave, I would like you to give us an outline on what you would say to a 9th grade class, black young ladies and men. What would you tell them in terms of preparing for their future?
Okay, absolutely.
Okay, that's a good question, Lado. Thank you. Yeah.
So I would say this. You guys, I started out in the streets, but I became a 3.8 honor student. One way I did that was I became super fascinated with reading new information. The only thing that's going to save you won't be words. It will be new information. Constantly look for new books. When you go to work, you don't go to work to do the job. You go to work like it's college. You learn different things. When I went as a warehouse person initially, I asked, what are they doing over there? Oh, those are the warehouse clerks. What do the warehouse clerks do? Oh, they package stuff. I go over there. Hey, what do y'all do? Hey, we package stuff. Okay. Well, how do you do that? Oh, you got to get a certification. Went to the library, learned about warehouse certification, took half of my check, went and bought a international shipping clerk certification. Didn't apply at that job, went to apply at a totally different job. Within a year, I was making more money. I went from forklift to an international shipping clerk. This type of stuff saves you. Learning new information. You want to go travel the world? Go get in hotels. They always need an English-speaking person in a different country to work the front thing. You could travel everywhere. They always need an English-speaking person. You want to learn what I do? Learn a little bit of laws, a little bit of mathematics. Be able to get away from the sex, dating talk. That's what's going to hurt you the most. Even to you ladies, love will come. Love will come, but don't do it early. Wait. Go out and tackle the world first. Get about late 20s, 30s before you start worried about that. Guys, having a baby is going to stop you. It's almost like a death having a kid. Wait, and go learn. Pick up a new book, learn. And lastly, so that's the answer to her. But lastly, to the older people, y'all been sitting in the same place for too long. Even me. I cut off all my cable. My house is set up to go back to college. I got a podium. I got this. I set all my stuff up to go back because I got to absorb new information for this new after Trump life that we're going to have. This isn't a joke, people. We can't sit in the same place expecting other ethnicities not to be coming for our jobs, coming for our benefits. Everything you guys never thought there would be a virus. But what did China do over there in Wuhan at the super lab? I want y'all to Google General Chen. General Chen, they brought her out of retirement just to go over there and try to fix what they messed up because somebody made a bioweapon and it went crazy. Why is General Chen the number one virus person over there trying to fix it now? It ain't natural. So please understand, even if you disagree with me, if you Big J, Joshua, anybody to disagree with, fine. But what I need for us to do is get out here on bigger platforms and come with better solutions, not just knock down what you hear. Get out here and say, here's the better route. That's what we do. hopefully I answered that.
Yeah. I kind of put that on the style. Yeah, I think that answered the question. All right. Thank you again, Mr. Research, for your time, your energy, and your knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And we will be doing this again soon.
Hey, if you can catch me, like I said, man, I'm getting into the next chapter, man. I got a bunch of stuff to. I'm trying to perfect my career path now for something greater, and I'm finna get out of here and go to the gym now. I just did this special for you, bro. So
Okay. That's what's up. You know what I'm saying? Always improving the mind and body, which I tell you, always self-improving. Every man should always keep a focus and always self-improvement, no matter what the odds are, you know, because that's all we have, you know. We have to impose this environment somehow, and you're not going to do it by being too lazy. I guess you got to be tougher. You got to do the things like make sure your body's right, your mind's right. All these things will ensure wherever you're trying to gravitate in life, it will come. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, thank you. And like I said, I will send you a text very shortly after this. All right?
All right, sir. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Research. And I'd like to thank everybody for listening to tonight's show. You know, so this was a very lengthy show, but well needed. The things that you missed, go back to the replay of this show. You know, take notes because there was some things y'all could use and apply in your life. And like always, and I think I lay out enough solutions. I hope y'all enjoyed this stream. Until next time, good night, my people.
Comment, subscribe, and like this video. And always, if you want to follow me on Twitter at ChaosReign7. Thank you for listening. Until then, let the chaos reign.